This is Comic Geek Speak, episode 1888. Previews.
Welcome to Comic Geek Speak. I'm Adam Murdo.
I'm Ian Levinstein.
I'm Chris Everly.
Thank you, Chris, for that stentorian introduction and for that glimpse of liquid fellowship that you just put on camera a moment ago.
I try to maintain my majestic ham-bone credentials, my friend.
Wouldn't want it any other way.
Viva Fanta Mexicana.
I strive to be the lowly podcast version of Charlton Heston.
Well, as long as they didn't blow it up, you maniac. then I guess we're all right in the end. All right. Well, welcome one and all to the show, and this is indeed previews time yet again. But before we get to any of the pomp and circumstance tonight, I just wanted to raise a glass. I wasn't going to drink tonight, but then I wound up having to. I wound up grabbing my fruitiest drink that I had in honor of a fallen brethren. The one and only Darren Noel, unfortunately passed away yesterday as we record this. Longtime member of the comic forums in multiple forms as Rainbow Cloak, and also of the Legion of Substitute Podcasters, and went to many a Comic Geek Speak event over the years, all the super shows, and was just a fixture of the community. And I always look forward to conversing with him online in one form or another, whether it be him commenting on my sonorous beard or whether it be just random comments here or there on Facebook or otherwise. And Darren was a sweetheart of a human being, and he's most definitely going to be missed. So here's to you, Darren.
Indeed.
Yep. I have no glass to raise, I'm afraid, but if any member of our community deserved a toast, it was certainly Darren. Yeah, he was a bon vivant, and he knew how to live well and live loudly and live happily, and he was just a very positive human being. I mean, he knew how to bring the sass and the sarcasm in moderate amounts when appropriate, but generally he was very positive, even when life gave him some hard turns. And I've always respected him for having the guts to go back to college, like in his 40s, to train for a new career, and he made a real success of that. Yeah, he came to, as Ian said, he came to all the super shows. I always looked forward to hanging out with him there, and he always spearheaded a little side trip for any interested parties to come out to the Christmas barn. If there pictures exist of him with our big sign out by Route 422 here in front of the barn. And yeah, so there's a few members of our staff who remember him and are missing him already. So, yep, he was a good friend, a loyal friend, a super friend of Dorothy.
Yes.
And the world is just a good bit less colorful without him.
Couldn't have put it any better myself, Murd. And for that matter, there's hours and hours of content that you can go back and listen to on the Legion of Substitute Podcasters feed that you'll be able to perhaps get to know him a little bit better if you didn't know him yourself, because he was an incredibly genuine human being behind the mic. What you got behind the mic was who you got in person. I had the pleasure of guesting on a Legion of Substitute Podcasters episode back in, I think, 2016. And plus, he even recently was on with our Peter the Rios on episode 600 of the Daily Rios. He was center square in that episode as a whole bunch of people got on Skype, on Zoom, that is. And
in the proud tradition of Charles Nelson Riley and Paul Lynde. Exactly.
And joined him for that. And yeah, get to know him a little bit better if you haven't, just through podcasting alone. He'll, wherever he is right now, I'm sure he's shooting the shit with Jamie. Many a bad yet also lewd joke has been made, and I'm sure he wouldn't want it any other way. So there we go. Here's to you, sir.
Oh man!
All right. And with that, let's get to doing what I'm sure he would have wanted us to do, and that's continue podcasting.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. I will mention first the patrons, and then I'll hand it over to Murd for a little bit more information on what's upcoming for this show. Patreon.com/comicgeekspeak. We thank you so much for the continued support that you bring this show in any way possible. We really do continue to appreciate that support. For as little as $1 a month, you can join the Patreon. And if for some reason you're unable to, just spread the word about the show, either on iTunes or other places you can give reviews or let a friend know. And that's just as positive a way to get involved as anything else. So patreon.com/comicgeekspeak. We thank you for that support. And now another way of participating in the show. Murd, over to you.
Yes, thank you, Ian. Well, folks, the Comic Geek Speak Best of 2022 awards are fast approaching here, and we do still need your input as to who deserves to be honored with the coveted Jamie Awards, as they've recently been christened. So for that, we need you folks to email in some ballots to nominate your favorite comics and creators of 2022. And so far, the turnout has been a few stalwarts of the best of process of years past, but it's been kind of a sparse turnout so far. So you've still got, as of this recording, about a week and a half to participate. Just go to our super group on Facebook or to the comicforums.vanillacommunity.com, the good old CTS forums. Find the list of different categories in which we're seeking nominations. There's 16 of them. We ask that you nominate someone or something in 8 of those 16 categories. That's what makes it a complete ballot, and email it into bestof, BESTOF, at comicgeekspeak.com by 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sunday, March 5th.
Excellent.
So yes, please give us a sense of what you've been reading this year. It's really a great deal of fun for us, not only to honor those creators and comics that entertained us the most last year, but to learn what you folks have been reading. So it's kind of a communal celebration of the best in comics of the previous year, and we want as many of our listeners as possible to be a part of it.
Absolutely.
And on the horizon beyond that, we'll do a special nomination show revealing the results of the nominations process shortly after Sunday, March 5th. We're going to be talking about the Quantumania movie sometime in the near future.
Yep.
And by golly gosh, by George, sometime in the month of March, Ian and I are going to climb into the cockpit of the time bubble. We're going to talk about some slightly older stuff for you.
Yep, I'm already searching through the proper time and era, and we'll bring a few equally relevant pieces to the table. So looking forward to it.
That was like a welcome jolt of electricity. Murd.
Woke you up inside, huh, Chris?
Dust that co-pilot seat off and give it a good shining.
Well, I'm pretty sure Jamie D was the last person to occupy it, so you.
Oh yeah, good company.
Sitting in the butt prints of giants.
Absolutely the case.
Majestic butt print.
Love it. All right, and with that, let's head on over to previews.
Okay. Looks like we're looking at catalog number 413, the February issue, dealing with things mostly releasing in April.
Indeed. Yep. On that cover, the Mighty Barbarians, and we'll get that once we get to Ablaze, but Michael Morci and Giuseppe Cafaro bring us some barbarian-esque action on there. Okay, let's scroll it down. A reminder once again, Free Comic Book Day, May 6th, 2023 this year. So go see Guardians of the Galaxy and then go grab some free comics and buy some comics at your local shop if you have the opportunity.
I saw the full Guardians trailer for the first time when I went to see Ant-Man. God, it looks so much fun.
It really does. Cannot wait to see what that's going to bring forth. Yeah. Good way to end that and then move on to other things at Marvel. Absolutely. All right, we start off on page.
Oh, I'm already excited for this.
Yes, indeed. Deep Cuts, number 1 of 6. Story by Kyle Higgins and Joe Clark, and art by Danilo Beyruth.
So it's Kyle Higgins with I think it's his Radiant Black co-writer, Joe Clark, writing about jazz in early 20th century New Orleans. That's all I need to know. It's going to be amazing. Come on.
It does sound pretty good, yeah.
And look at that cover. Woo!
I love it.
Very excited for this.
In the city's bustling red light district, a young clarinet player lands a job with his hero, but he'll soon discover there's more to the music business than playing the right notes. Ooh. A whip smart new miniseries that's perfect for music fans searching for a story with depth and redemption.
I like how you sold that, Levy Poo.
Thank you very much. Luckily, previews did the job for me. And the artwork is superb.
Yeah, it really is. I'm looking forward to this immensely.
Oh man, they do a good job of actually getting musical notes across, which is obviously that's as much the job as the letterer as it is anybody else. But you feel the music from the artwork, which is hard to achieve. All right, move over to page 46, and Saladin Ahmed has a new series starting off with Image with Dave Acosta on the artwork and cover chores. Cover B by Daniel Warren Johnson, also nothing to slouch at right there. But this is their Image debut for this sci-fi horror series about working people fighting mind-bending monsters. Definitely a sci-fi bent there, with a little bit of horror action thrown in for good measure.
And then the references Bitter Root is probably worth checking out.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And Saladin Ahmed's a solid writer. His work on Miles Morales was terrific. Didn't he also do that Black Bolt series a couple of years ago? Was that him? I think.
Not sure myself.
I think he did a Quicksilver miniseries, and he had a run of Exiles too, which I'm sure you saw.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that Exiles didn't get nearly as much love as it should have, because that was actually pretty damn good.
See, the power of Murd's memory I equate with like the power of the supreme intelligence. So I'm assuming that's correct. Let's move on.
Indeed, we're not heroes; we're contractors. Excellent tagline there. All right, moving forward to World Tree with a double 3 by James Tynion IV. Fernando Blanco and Jordi Belair. That is an awesome team.
Yeah, it sure is.
Page 50 of the catalog. In 1999, Gabriel and his friends discovered the Undernet, a secret architecture to the internet. They charted their exploration on a message board called World Tree. Then they lost control. Someone broke into World Tree, someone who welcomed the violent hold the Undernet had on them. At great personal cost, Gabriel and his others thought they sealed the Undernet away for good. They were wrong.
I'm not the only ham bone on this show.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, you're giving us some good reads tonight, Ian.
Thank you. It might be the fact that I've been soloing it here at the apartment, so perhaps I've just been waiting to talk, which is also a possibility. As Martha enjoys the warmth of Curacao right now.
Oh my!
Yes, indeed. Yep. Department of Truth meets Mr. Robot in this high-stakes cyberpunk thriller. That's a great combo right there.
I thought you were about to say Department of Truth meets Mr. Rogers. That'll be even more fun.
Where's the cardigan?
Let's go with that. Can you say World Tree? Yep, I knew you could.
I spat out my Fanta.
Oh man,
Ian, you're firing on all cylinders tonight.
This seems like a really cool premise. I dig anything involving like cyberpunk, where like we get like behind, and that seems to be what they're aiming for here. So yeah, with this, looking forward to this a lot. All right, moving on.
Artwork looks stunning.
Oh yeah, mostly black and white with bits of color thrown in there. Oof. Jerry Duggan, Ginormous Kokju, #1 of 3. Jerry Duggan and Scott Kobush, the Despicable Deadpool team, reunite to give the world the giant monster attack story that movies and TV are too squeamish to show you.
Kaiju in heat, in other words.
Basically. Yep.
A monster with physical needs. It needs a restroom. It needs food too. And most unfortunately, it needs sexual satisfaction.
There it is.
Amen to that. They're flying out the M rating for this one, and remember that, not for the kiddies. Duggan does pretty good M-rated stuff to begin with, and now they're dealing with kaiju, so you have me.
And Scott Koblish on the artwork.
Oh yeah, look at the design on that dragon, like beautiful. How about Junk Rabbit? Page 56. Jimmy Robinson with
what an opening up line for the copy. A new hero rises from mountains of consumer waste, mass homelessness, and devastating climate change.
So clearly it's a fantasy story.
Woo.
Some call the hero a myth, an urban legend, but others know that it's the Junk Rabbits come to life. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Swamp Thing meets RoboCop are words you don't usually hear in life.
Yeah, but it's a good character design, and based on the couple of preview pages we get here, it looks like it's a dystopia with a sense of humor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I'll be giving this one a try.
Yeah, almost looks like Jamie McKelvey-esque artwork. On the 9 cents.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
Yep. Howard Chaykin, Volume 3 of Hey Kids Comics. The Schlock of the New. 6-issue mini here. As a generation of artists ashamed of their career have come to this, scratching out a living, entertaining children who wonder why anyone would want to do anything else. I think he might have written a copy here. With the birth of the comics industry comes the afterbirth, a shadow twin that will sustain and occasionally sabotage it for generations to come. Fandom. Chaykin, ladies and gentlemen, Chaykin.
I love the whole afterbirth, a shadow twin.
Yeah, man. Like, tell us how you really feel. That's
fantastic.
Beautiful. Page 58 for that one. It's a 6-issue mini by Mr. Chaykin. And then another 6-issue mini on the next page by Justin Jordan, Summoner's War Awakening. As we get something closer to fantasy here with D&D-esque action. As a new chapter of the action-packed Summoner's War saga begins with the 6-issue mini Awakening on page 59. Page 60, Dr. Atomic, the Pipe and Dope Book. Yeah. Just in time for 420. Kind of all you need to hear right there.
I love how to the point the title is.
Oh, absolutely.
Dr. Atomic, the Pipe and Dope Book. Yeah, that appeals to a certain stratum of comics readership.
Mm-hmm. Most definitely.
The Stoner's DIY Guide to Making Pipes, Building a Greenhouse, The Care and Maintenance of Home Growing, How to Make Hashish, and much, much more. Fantastic.
Can't wait to see what much, much more entails. All righty. Moving forward a bit here. As we get into the trades, page 63, for those of you who are waiting for the collected edition of American Jesus. This is Volume 3, Revelation, by Mark Miller and Peter Gross. And this has been a long time coming, soon to be a Netflix series, and apparently we are almost there, as they remind us of it once again. So it's called The Chosen One on Netflix, not American Jesus, but it is based on this material. Page 63 for Volume 3. A Town Called Terror, trade paperback by Steve Niles on page 67. Any of you who are waiting for that to be collected, that is now there in full.
Have you guys ever read Black Science? I've never read that. I've heard a lot of great things about it.
I was just going to say, I think I have Volume 1 sitting on my shelf and still haven't gotten to it.
The fabled shelf.
Indeed. Yep. The fabled shelf full of shit that I should have read 10 years ago. Yeah. Yep. But I've always heard good things about it.
Well, there's the whole thing.
There you go. Yep.
One of 43, $60 before discount.
Yeah. So it's going to be a hefty tome to put in your lap. But it's a trade paperback, so.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. And Volume 9 of Ice Cream Man.
Murd, this is a series you praise, correct?
Yes. It's very innovative horror. And it's It's got a through-going storyline, too.
Nice.
It's interesting. And each issue Prince and Marazzo just find different ways of telling a horror story. It's a little bit behind its publication schedule, but it's always a treat whenever a new issue arrives, as I believe a new issue arrived just this week.
Ah, very nice. This collects 4 issues, so issue 33 through 36. So page 69, if you're looking for a nice 4-issue arc of horror, then volume 9 will be for you.
Actually, could you go back to Outpost Zero for a second?
Sure can.
Just bring this up because I always admired the writing of Sean Kelly McKeever.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, he wrote the Waiting Place, one of the all-time great depictions of high school in comic book form. He did a Mystique series for Marvel. He's done a bunch of stuff. Always a writer I can depend on to enjoy his work.
Absolutely.
And I forgot and mentions here. He did Spider-Man Loves Mary Jane, which is a classic series. So,
absolutely,
highest recommendation.
And for that matter, co-created Gravity with Mike Norton.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's right.
That's on page 70 there, the complete collection of Outpost Zero, all 14 issues of that for only $18.
And they also include the artist of who did the Good Asian, too. So, great team.
Indeed. Another Rick Remender work on page 71, A Righteous Thirst for Vengeance. One with Andre Lima Arujo. Remender put this story together. And this collects all 11 issues of that in a deluxe hardcover format on page 71. All right. Anything else screaming out to you in Image, gents?
Just the joy of knowing there's a new issue of Saga in it.
Indeed.
That's, come on. And that Murd, there's an Ice Cream Man 36 as well.
Indeed.
Mm-hmm. Which and 36 is solicited.
It's in the trade
as part of that trade. So, yep. I'll mention this on page 79. It's issue 12 of Image, which was in celebration of Image's 30th anniversary. This is with an all new Science Dog story by Robert Kirkman and Corey Walker, the original Invincible creators. Plus a new tale,
The Old Guard
by Rica and Fernandez, and a very special story by the late Vincent Kukoa. Plus Jeff Johns and Andrea Moody's The Blizzard. Great creators involved with it. Looking forward to seeing this whole thing collected.
Dean Hashbiel, Scotty Young. Wow.
Yep. This could be a hardcover I wind up getting, to be honest. 12 issues of content like this is hard to pass up. That was on page 79 there. All right. Whole bunch of things wrapping up this month, so there'll be trades to come in a bunch of different forms here. Doug Wagner's 6th issue of Plush also wrapping up on page 89.
I want to mention on page 90, I fell behind a Radiant Black. I just read, I think, 4 issues in a sitting. God, that book is still just superb. It is pound for pound probably the best superhero style comic being published right now. Magnificent.
We're getting there.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Yep, next time we bring you a book of the month, that will be the book.
Definitely. And Radiant Pink's issue 5 on page 91 for that matter. Saga issue 64. Who will stop the rain? That's the only words in the solicit.
Great CCR song.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I'm also scared profusely by that one line.
Well, come on, in Saga,
Oh, I know.
Everything will be fine.
Brian K. Vaughan subscribes very much to the words "kill your darlings." Like, don't ever become too attached for anybody inside of Saga, because then you're just going to get hurt.
As it should be. Yes.
All right.
That's why it's the best.
Moving on to Doom. Boom, that is. Boom Doom. All right. The Expanse Dragon.
Andy Diggle.
Yes. Yep. And is that? Do you think that's Rubine as the illustrator or Rubini?
I was going to say Rubine.
Rubine. There we go.
But I'm guessing just as much as you are.
Good enough. This is an expansion, quite literally, of The Expanse. That was a series that wrapped up not too long ago on TV.
Did you watch it?
I did not. I've always heard. I know people that are huge fans of this. I know that Scott Johnson of the Frog Pants Network is a huge fan of this, as well as a bunch of other podcasters that I listen to on the regular. I've always praised The Expanse. It's a lot to get into it, and it's kind of hard sci-fi. So I feel like I'm going to have to like commit to it rather than just like half commit. And I've got enough things I'm watching right now.
What platform is it on?
I think it originally was on Sci-Fi and then finished up on Amazon Prime, if I remember correctly. And I think Amazon Prime got it all once. Okay. Once it wrapped up.
Well, by the I mean Andy Diggle. I mean he wrote The Losers, which I revere. So.
And this picks up right after the final season. So 12-issue mini to start things off on page 98 of the Expanse Dragon Tooth. Oof, man, those covers are great.
Yep.
Then Dan Waters brings us The Seasons Have Teeth. What a name. Sebastian Cabral on the artwork chores this 4-issue miniseries. A monster for every season. In this brand new series for fans of the Sandman universe, Nightmare County, and the many deaths of Wawa Star. As I zoom in because the text is harder to read on this part. In a drab, colorless world, the seasons bring change and also destruction. Andrew, a retired conflict photographer, lives a life steeped in regret after an unspeakable tragedy. But everything shifts when the seasons arrive. Each one a personified godlike creature, as he risks everything to track down spring, summer, autumn, and winter, while capturing the perfect picture of each be enough to find redemption and ultimately bring color back to his world. This very much sounds like something that a fan of Sandman would enjoy. The manifestations of existing non-manifestations. This looks pretty cool.
Yep, it's a great concept, but I think this one is going to be a wait for the trade and get all 4 seasons in one package.
Agreed. Yes, I would agree with that as well. Well, that trade will happen once this is all out, and that artwork is sublime.
Yep, I think we're getting a peek at the monster that is spring right there.
Yep, good character designs all around. And page 106, Simon Spurrier's Coda Deluxe Edition, with Matthias Bergara on the artwork chores for that as well on page 106. So if you didn't check this one out, this is all 12 issues of it in one shot. A GLAAD Media Award-winning author, Simon Spurrier, along with Matthias Bergara. And this one's Eisner Award nominated, and well worth giving your time. Creative match made in heaven, according to IO9, page 106.
That's definitely piqued my interest.
Ooh, wow! Look at that cover.
Yeah.
Great use of black space. Volume 3 of Jodorowsky's The Sons of El Topo graces us as well on page 108 for any of you Jodorowsky fans. This is the final installment of the sequel graphic novel trilogy to the cult film El Topo from legendary filmmaker Alejandro Jodorowsky. Jodorowsky, as I've mentioned in the past, well known for the Dune movie he did not make. Many other things, but that's what immediately comes to mind whenever I think of him. All right, bringing us down a little bit further into the book, mostly ongoings. Issue 5 of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the second miniseries, the 5th and final of it.
Dan Mora art.
20, yep. Looks like we've got some Red Ranger experiencing some ooze transformations going on. Yep. Looking a lot more Tyrannosaurus than he used to.
And looks like the Blue Ranger has gone Triceraton on us.
Yes, indeed. Yep. Casey Jones is looks like he's got Power Ranger powers. Oh man, this is totally worth it. Ryan Parrott, and of course illustrated by the one and only Dan Mora. But you can't get better than that. Page 120 for that.
Yeah, and I'm just asking. So I'm seeing both the IDW and the Boom logo for some of these. So are those mutual owned properties?
That's a good question, actually.
I'm not imagining that, right? I thought I saw that.
Oh, yeah.
no.
The IDW has the Turtles license.
Okay.
Oh, yes. That would be why. Yes. Good,
Gotcha.
good point there, Murd. Yep. Yeah, they have not merged unless something happened behind the scenes that I am not aware of.
At this point, no development would surprise me concerning IDW.
Yep. Meanwhile, over to Dark Horse. And
Kent.
on page 130, I think this one's for you, Murd.
Well, you'd think, but, Ian, living with a cat is terrifying enough to begin with. Something like this to stoke the fires of paranoia. So, yeah. Thank you, Mr. Kent. I want to be able to go to sleep with my cat in the room.
Fair enough. Maybe for people who used to have cats but don't anymore.
Or there's people who hate them, period.
Yeah. Oh, well, then this will be for me. Okay, I don't hate all cats. I just think they're evil. But four-issue miniseries of Hairball, again, I'm allergic. I'm allowed.
Well, when you fellas were over the family stronghold, I'm glad we had the family cat in the basement.
Yeah. I was personally surprised because usually cats know I'm allergic and immediately want to rub up against me because of that.
They can tell.
This did not happen nearly as much with yours, Chris. I was A-okay.
Good.
But 4-issue miniseries here, Hairball. It's a horror book about cats. So be scared. Be very, very scared.
Yeah.
Look at those cat eyes on that art.
Sample art on page 131. That's the cats are not the good guys here.
No, they are not. And now for the best possible tagline. Bread of the Dead. The Great British Bump Off. 4-issue mini. I might be in for this.
An Agatha Christie-style murder mystery set in the world of English competitive baking.
From the creator of Giant Days, for that matter, John Allison and Max Sarin. Yeah, there's
that British baking show on Netflix. I'm assuming they're riffing on that.
Oh, sure.
Yep. Great. The British. I'm a fan of food competition of all kind, and especially after watching the menu.
That was so good.
This is going to be right on my alley, I think.
Menu was a delight.
Yeah, I'll be getting this in trade more than likely. The Great British Bump Off on page 132. Look at that artwork. Cartoonishly expressive is absolutely the way I would describe it.
And if you watch it, because my wife and I watch some of these cooking shows, like when that's a example, like when the team falls apart and they start turning on each other.
Yep. It's also like thinking of it, MasterChef. The only time you ever see Gordon Ramsay not be an asshole is when he's dealing with MasterChef kids.
Oh yeah, I mean he's wonderful with the kids. Yeah, in MasterChef Junior.
Which basically just proves that the asshole is mostly a persona that he puts on.
Of course,
I've seen him interviewed and what have you, and he seems like he's actually a pretty well put together fella. Some of the best episodes of Hot Ones involved him as well. All right, let's move forward to All Eight Eyes by Steve Fox and Piotr Kowalski. In the forgotten corners of post 9/11 New York City, skittering shapes in the darkness prey on people's society leave behind. College dropout Vin Spencer floats through life in a drug and party-fueled haze till one terrible night sweeps him into a drifter's reckless war against the giant eight-legged horrors striking the city.
Jaws meets arachnophobia.
Yep. Now, the way you feel about cats may get me to not read this, Murd, because I love New York City for everything that it is. Sometimes it could be a little bit creepy on its own. Now I'm thinking about an eight-eyed monster that might be out there terrorizing the streets. So. Page 134 for that, and the artwork on the next page also is great.
Yep.
Very Walking Dead-esque artwork. All right. What else we got in Dark Horse? Mentioned in passing issue 2 of Clear by Snyder and Manapool. solicited on page 138. It's already on Comixology, but if you're looking for the single issues, this is the second issue in that. And trade paperbacks of the Star Wars stuff that Dark Horse has been doing. Star Wars The High Republic Adventures Volume 1, and Star Wars The High Republic Adventures The Nameless Terror issues 3 of 4, all solicited on that same page 140. I can't wait to get this in trade. Masterverse.
Tim Seeley.
Yep. Issue 3 of 4 here, so we are close to the conclusion on 142. We got the trade paperback of something that I've been looking forward to reading. Minor Threats on page 145. Patton Oswalt and Jordan Bloom bring us what's been on some people's best lists. I know that the Comic Speed had this one listed as one of their best of 2022. And it's Patton Oswalt, so I'm sure it is actually quite good. Minor Threats Volume 1, A Quick End to a Long Beginning. Page 145.
Oswalt was talking up Minor Threats during his appearance on Celebrity Jeopardy this season.
Oh, nice.
Of which he was the champion, incidentally.
Well done. Well done.
Now there's the collection of Quick Stops, Kevin Smith's anthology series of the View Askew universe. I read the first issue. It was great.
Hardcover. Give us something that Jay and Silent Bob could afford.
Yeah, right.
Well, they're very successful marijuana dealers, Murd. They can probably afford a lot.
No, okay, that's a fair point. Give us something that Randall and Dante could afford.
I wasn't even supposed to be here. It is only $24.99 before discount, so it's not a terrible price for 104 pages, but I'm sure there'll be a trade paperback to come. So you can hold out for that.
Okay.
Yep, page 147 for that. All right, and I think that's it for Dark Horse, unless there's, you know what, Powers Volume 4, I always like to mention Powers. Recollecting Powers, this is issues 1 through 18, and a treasure trove of behind-the-scenes content from the making of this superhero noir classic.
In its day, one of the most exciting books on the stands.
Indeed, yep. And they've gone back to it from time to time, and this is one of those return side miniseries that occurred. So all 18 issues of that by Bendis and Avon Oeming here in Volume 4 on page 153. Art of the Cuphead Show. Page 155. This show is awesome.
I would be watching the hell out of it if I only had Netflix.
I know, man. And it's absolutely your aesthetic, Murd. It tries to be an old school cartoon.
It looks like Ren and Stimpy.
Exactly. It kind of combines like the characteristics of an old 1930s, 1940s cartoon with the personality of Ren and Stimpy. And it does a great job of it. And the Netflix show I think has 2 seasons so far, and it's wonderfully done. So any of you who wants to see some behind the scenes artwork for it, check it out on page 155. All right, and that is that for Dark Horse. So we head over to DC, and a book that I have very much been looking forward to that I cannot wait to talk about. On page 2, it has been a while since there has been a Green Arrow book I am 100% looking forward to. And this is it on page 2. Joshua Williamson on the writing and Sean Isaac on the artwork. Man, the Green Arrow family is back in
look at that.
force. I am all for this.
Heck of an extended family they've got there.
Yep.
Some characters I wouldn't expect to see.
Agreed. Yeah, it's including ones that really haven't been mentioned in a while. It looks like we have both Mia and Arrowette involved here in one way or another.
All right.
Yep. So totally down for that. Arsenal back for us, or Red Arrow, depending on whatever he wants to call himself. We've got Red Canary and Black Canary, and a whole bunch of others thrown in there. I'm in ground floor here. I can't wait to read this.
So it looks like it's a 6-issue miniseries, so minimal commitment to start off with. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I'm curious as to what role some of the people in that group shot are going to play. So yeah, I think I might give it a try too.
Yeah, I certainly hope it leads to an ongoing, especially with Sean Isaac on the artwork. I've been a fan of his for years now. He had a run most recently on Fantastic Four that was actually quite good. And now here he is with Green Arrow, and I I dig the redesign of the costumes too. Like a lot of them have the personality of previous editions, but I like the combination of sort of like a more modern take on Ollie.
I love the hood though. I always like when he has the hood.
Exactly, with the hood and the color scheme, it works great. Check that out on page 2, and then Make Me Happy, why don't you? Superboy, yes, baby. Superboy, the Man of Tomorrow, written by Kenny Porter, art by Janoy Lindsay. On page 4 there, Connor Kent comes to center stage in his own 6-issue miniseries, In. Mm-hmm. And he's got the old school leather jacket and the shades.
Oh, yep, he is 90s styling it in this one.
Absolutely. Yep. This is the 2022 round robin winner picked by you, the fans. And thank you, fans, because I didn't know that this was happening, but they sure did select it. And Kenny Porter on writing chores. Love the artwork so far from Janoy. This takes place after the events of Dark Crisis, with Connor feeling out of place from the rest of community. Doesn't fit in with the rest of the Superman family, and the rest of the world doesn't really need him with so many supers in Metropolis. He doesn't want to rely on Tim, Cassie, and Bart, so Connor looks to the stars as a place he might be alone to call his own and carve out his own path. But what works in the great unknown? We'll find that out with him. Page 6 gives us Adventures of Superman John Kent, issue 2.
Taylor.
Yep.
That's it.
And Electric Blue, baby. Continuing Electric Blue. Although he's not nearly as blue when he fades off the colors, which is fine by me. But I dig the chest emblem, the style of the new costume for John Kent. As we enter, I'm not sure if it's this issue or next, but Tom Taylor returns to the world of Injustice for the first time in a while as part of this multiversal traversing. So looking forward to a return for Tom Taylor to the series that he very much fleshed out from the video games. So his first stop at DC was those Injustice books. Joshua Williamson's Superman continues on the next page, page 7. Superman's loved ones are transformed into ravenous parasites. Possibly by Parasite.
Or some...
Lois looks pretty ravenous.
Some nefarious force behind Parasite.
Yes, definitely. And Superman and Natasha Irons teaming together on page 8 here with Action Comics 1054.
Well, this year is the 30th anniversary of Steel, I've heard, so going to be seeing a lot of Natasha and her uncle John Henry around the DCU for a while now.
Yeah, and they've played a big part in the Superman and Lois show as well.
Yep, I didn't get further than midway through the first season, I'm ashamed to say. I do mean to go back and add up.
Yeah, I still have season 2 to finish myself, so I'm a bit behind as well. And a new character alert on Unstoppable Doom Patrol as we explore the world's strangest superheroes' new headquarters, the Shelter, as they welcome their brand new member, the Worm. That fits right in with Doom Patrol. I hope at least one character winds up doing the Worm at some point. Oh, wow. Who is the Red Mask? Whoever he is.
Darsky Batman.
Yep. Whoever he is, he looks damn cool. Batman 134 on page 10 there. And what a striking cover.
Oh, it's beautiful. Wow.
Ooh, page 11. Evan Cagle is the man behind this fantastic cover for Detective Comics 1071. The use of blank space is perfect. It has a Mr. Freeze backup. Alrighty. Let's move a little bit closer into the book here. Superman Lost, number
2. Issue 1, Christopher Priest taking on Superman.
Indeed.
It's enough.
Yep. As Superman struggles to re-enter his life on Earth, we begin the story of his epic 20-year journey home with an encounter with spacefaring scavengers who transport the Man of Steel to an unnamed Earth-like planet whose properties redefine the limits of his powers, while the world's ecological and political turmoil beckons for his help. Fully white Superman there with a yellow gold background on the S there. Very striking. Page 16. DC Speechless by Gustavo Duarte. Art by Gustavo Duarte as well, as he brings his style of humor to the DC universe in 6 short stories featuring funny moments in your favorite superheroes' lives. And I'm assuming by the word speechless and by the preview art that it ain't going to have any words. And I'm okay with that.
I like some of the examples. How does Superman get rid of his radioactive clothes?
Yeah.
Harley buy her mallets.
Some of it's self-explanatory. Page 16 for that. Looks like some good all-ages fun.
Mm-hmm.
Sandman universe gets a little bit bigger. Nightmare Country, The Glass House, #1 by James Tynion IV, with Lissandro Esterin on the artwork chores. Page 20 here, and it's a Corinthian story. Really like how they did the.
And apparently, he's cutting loose among the Lords of Silicon Valley.
Mm-hmm. Really like how they did the Corinthian on the Netflix series. And on the next page, we've got some collections for you. Collection of Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths, Dark Crisis World Without a Justice League, Dark Crisis Young Justice, and Tales from Dark Crisis.
I look forward to discussing the main series in our next comic talk.
Definitely. Page 22 and 23 for that. And then One Bad Day Two-Face and One Bad Day Penguin on 24 and 25. Mariko Tamaki and Javier Fernandez on Two-Face. John Ridley and Giuseppe Camuncoli and Cam Smith on Penguin. These continue to have terrific creative teams involved.
You sure do. I have the one on my pile. I have to read it by G. Willow Wilson and Jamie McKelvey.
Yes. Speaking of G. Willow Wilson, Volume 1 of her Poison Ivy series, solicited on page 26.
Look to the right.
Oh, yeah. Nightwing Volume 1, Leaping in the Light, and then Volume 3, The Battle for Bloodhaven's Heart.
So in my role as epic redundancy, I'll just mention again, this is pretty much as good as it gets.
Yep.
I think is Volume 3 a new trade? That's a new trade, isn't it, Ian?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So that goes through issues 96. Issue 100 just came out. If you love Nightwing, if you love the DC universe, if you love these characters and want to see them handled well with care and history,
yes,
this is the series you need to read.
I'll be catching up on this shortly. I'm still a few issues behind,
and Redondo's art and design is it's breathtaking,
bar none. Black Adam Volume 1, Christopher take on the Black Adam character,
which I'm thoroughly enjoying.
Yep, on page 28 there. And Mary Marble's turn as the champion of Shazam, collected there on that same page 28.
Featuring a version of Hoppy the Marvel Bunny.
Oh,
yes.
Murd.
That immediately makes me happy. That Evan Doc Shaner art makes it that much happier.
Oh, yes, a definite plus.
Mm-hmm. Any of you who haven't checked out Preacher? There's a brand spanking new Absolute Preacher edition coming out for any of you who have not done so on page 29.
Shane would be proud. I'm collecting. They did smaller hardcovers. I think there were 6 of them of the whole series. I just picked up 1, 2, and 3 because I haven't read Preacher in a long time, and I want to read it again in one sitting.
Nice.
Masterpiece.
I just gave Chris a very sun damaged Preacher toy at our last sojourn.
It's on my shelf here in my office, buddy.
Excellent. With a Garth Ennis signature, correct?
Indeed.
Yep. And Absolute Sandman Overture by Gaiman and J.H. Williams.
I don't think I ever finished that story. Now that I think about it,
it was beautiful
for whatever reason.
Yeah. I mean, nothing beats J.H. Williams on artwork. That's especially with the design sense. He was made for.
Yeah, I have to read that. And have you ever read this history of the DC universe? I've never read it.
Many times, Chris.
That's enough. That's enough.
A direct sequel to Crisis by the same creative team.
Yep.
The idea was to create a starting point for creation of new stories in this revised DC universe they had created by recapitulating its entire newly revised history, as illustrated by Perez. It's mostly typeset text against the background of Perez's artwork, just telling, the new post-crisis single universe history of the DC universe from the dawn of time through the far future in 2 extra-sized issues. It's legendary, Chris. Just required reading for any DC fan.
That's a real gap in my reading.
Do I remember right, Murd, that the original name for Crisis was History of the DC Universe before they then wound up using it that's a name for the sequel?
Spot on, Mr. Levinstein.
I learned it from you, Murd. I learned it from you.
And from Peter the Rios.
Yes, definitely. And Power of Shazam, Book 2, The Worm Turns.
Ordway.
Page 30. Yep.
Ordway and Friends.
Mm-hmm.
One day we're going to go back to the Spotlight on Shazam series of Spotlight episodes. And the 90s were owned by Ordway and his compatriots.
We are ready, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Artwork by Peter Krause, Gil Kane, Kurt Swan, and various others. And it includes the Superman Man of Tomorrow issue 4, which I remember reading when it came out at the time.
Yep, it was a quarterly title.
Mm-hmm. Yep, remember that battle between Superman and Captain Marvel. Good stuff. Batman Vengeance of Bane by Chuck Dixon with art by Graham Nolan and Eduardo Barreto. This is bringing us back in time a little bit for a book that kind of focused a lot more on Bane. This facsimile reproduction of Bane's first appearance is brought to us here.
I remember the original would fetch a pretty penny.
Mm-hmm.
I want to read this, Wonder Woman Historia, the Amazons. It just sounds like it's up my aisle in terms of intrigue and political compromise and shades of gray, basically. So definitely want to check this out.
Not to mention the both the writer and the artwork on this. Kelly Sue on the writing.
Amazing.
Yeah. Bill Jimenez, Gene Ha, and Nicholas Scott.
Oh, God. In.
Yep. And DC Pride, The New Generation. Kevin Conroy has a writing credit in this book. That's all I need to hear.
Mm-hmm.
And Gotham Academy, another book that I've heard some very good things about over the years. Becky Cloonan, Brendan Fletcher, and Carl Kerschel on Gotham Academy 1 through 18 and the annual here on page 35.
That's quite a box set.
Yes, indeed. Wow. Superman 78 and Batman 89 box set.
Oh, I approve of that package design.
I knew you would.
Oh, I know. How could you not approve of it? That is superb. VHS level action there for trade paperback on page 36. And more like a DVD set, Teen Titans Go box set, TV or not TV, right on top of that. The across page on page 37, Clark and Lex and Fan Club, Batman Squad 2023 Free Comic Book Day Special Edition. So this is $7.50 net for bundles of 25. So you will definitely see this in a Free Comic Book Day scenario. But Ernest Fan is the world's biggest Batman fan. That's the fan club part. But I like this the young reader graphic novel of Clark.
Oh, I always like to see that.
Early days. That has me intrigued. The graphic novel itself on the next page 38. And now here we are to the multiple solicits. We're on issue 6 of Blue Beetle Graduation Day. That is issue 6 of 6. So expect a trade to be forthcoming on page 40.
Forthcoming.
Mm-hmm. Double it up. Who Killed Simon Stagg? On page 40.
Look at that cover.
It's a question only Mark Waid would ask.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And issue 5 of Danger Street.
Yeah, we'll talk more about that next Comic Talk, too.
You got it.
Look at that Nightwing cover. Look at that Nightwing cover.
Everyone is good
Damn.
as the last.
Jeez.
Oh my
The
god.
guy just doesn't run out of ideas. Holy mackerel.
Man,
Bruno Redondo's covers
Really
is
impressive.
incredible.
really is. Page 43 for that.
A Nightwing spinner rack. Wow.
Travis Moore continues the art chores for this arc, but Redondo's still there for the covers, and I am all there for it. Issue 11 of Poison Ivy out on that same page. And Multiversity Harley screws up the DCU issue 2. Another book that I'm looking at reading at least the first issue of and seeing what I think of it.
And you got to give DC props for continuing original numbering for their long-running Scooby-Doo comic.
You're right. Yep.
Issue 121.
Yep, and it's still $2.99 the copy.
Yes, it is. We're also on the final issue of Stargirl: The Lost Children. As issue 6 comes out by Johns and Knock. Well, on the opposite page, page 42, there is JSA issue 5 with Huntress on the cover. Oh boy. You know, I heard that Jeremy Adams is going to be taking over Green Lantern, and we'll see that solicit next month. But I really hope it means that he's not leaving the Flash, because his Flash continues to just be the best.
Oh, yes. Just very satisfying combination of solid storytelling and comprehensive command of DC history.
Absolutely.
So I would love to see him try out Green Lantern too, but I agree with you, Ian. I'd rather he write both of this both sides of the Fast Friends team, as opposed to having to give up one for the other.
Absolutely, because then I can't wait for the eventual crossover.
Yes, which we all know will happen and will be spectacular.
Oh, no question. As previously mentioned, on page 46, Steel, a celebration of 30 years. So we get 30 years of the character of Steel by bundling together a bunch of his most interesting and special of issues, and with creators like Louise Simonson, Chris Priest, Grant Morrison, and others. You can't go wrong with that.
John Bogdanov, Dennis Cowan, great artists here.
Yep, Ed Bennis.
And next to that, I haven't read Tom Strong in so long. I remember loving it when it was coming out.
Yep.
This
puts together 36 issues of the series. Page 46. And an absolute V for Vendetta right next to it.
Which is, again, I would say anyone who's interested in just reading essential comics from the 80s and you haven't read V for Vendetta, read it. That's one of my favorites of all the things Alan Moore's done.
I read it and I enjoyed it, but I still hate the paper quality so much on the premium that I got. It's like thinner than newspaper. It was not a very good choice there.
Oh, I love when you get irritated.
Yeah. I'm sure Shane would agree with me on that one.
Then he would say, however. Anyway, go on.
Yes. Page 165 as we head over to Dynamite. Disney Villains Scar by Chuck Brown and Trevor Fraley. Startling new vision starring Disney's greatest villains set within the world of the Lion King. That is an interesting idea, I'll tell you.
And quite a designation, Disney's greatest villain.
He's up there. He's up there. How far will Scar go when he realizes he can never rule Pride Rock? Page 165 for that. And I appreciate looking at the Trevor Fraley character sketches, that it's not necessarily fully like animation accurate.
But it goes to the essence of it, though.
Oh yes, yeah. and that's what I want, because then it just looks like you're aping more than anything else, and this does not do that.
I'm looking forward to this. So this is a continuation of Philip Kennedy Johnson wrote an excellent 007 story I commented on our last comic talk, where Bond it explores the history of the 00 squad, for lack of a better term, and how one who had been a mentor, a woman who he thought was dead, may turn out to it's possible that she's not, and he ends up getting caught in this many layers of intrigue that kind of almost put him out as like a rogue operative. It was excellent, and this is the sequel to it. So if you're a Bond fan, I highly recommend both the previous story, which was just called 007, and now for King and Country. Excellent.
Yep, and that's on page 171. Philip Kennedy Johnson and Giorgio Spalletta.
And then they've reissued all the Dynamite's in a lot of great James Bond stuff, and they've reissued pretty much all of it here.
Yeah,
in collected form. A lot of good stories. That if you're a Bond fan, I really have been happy with everything they've done.
And the collection of creators involved as well.
Yep.
Warren Ellis, Kieran Gillen, Jody Hauser, Greg Pak,
Andy Diggle.
Yep.
It's good stuff.
Okay. Onward to Gargoyles issue 5, page 179. Digging the covers for these, and I continue to look forward to reading it once it's in trade. Go right next to my slave labor graphics trade.
Slave labor graphics. Wow.
Yep. Darkwing Duck issue 4 on page 183.
What a great cover.
Yes, indeed. Continuing that story. And let's see if anything else in Dynamite catches the eye.
Miss Fury.
Fury. Yep. Joy Division by Billy Tucci. Not Catwoman, we swear.
Now, remember, Miss Fury is a Golden Age character, correct?
Yep, she is an authentic Golden Age character.
And
right.
June Tart Mills, one of the few female Golden Age creators, if I remember correctly.
Yep, she was indeed a female Golden Age creator. That is correct. And this is Billy Tucci with help from fellow artists Maria Laura Sanapo and Edu Mena, bringing us, this is a new edition of a previously published original graphic novel starring the character.
That page on the right with her in the evening wear, that's a stunning page.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
Yep. Yeah, no, this looks really cool, and I continue to appreciate Dynamite bringing back the Golden Age characters in one form or another.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the ones that are in public domain that are just sitting there. Like, I'm glad somebody's doing something.
Yeah, totally agree. I've been buying everything they've been doing with them lately, including the Catman and Kitten one shot from a while ago.
I like these covers as well. Sweetie Candy Vigilante. Don't think I'm going to wind up buying them, but I do.
All bad eggs will get their just desserts, Ian.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Uh-huh. It's funny you see because she's Sweetie. Okay. All right. And I think that's it for that. We'll save Aftershock for later, and let's roll over to Marvel. Marvel this month.
Oh, jeez.
Now, I want to point these Disney covers out for one specific reason, which is it's been confusing a lot of people because this
is a cover for Amazing Spider-Man number 23.
Thank you. Yeah, it's not smart.
Borders on false advertising.
It is, yeah.
So these are variant covers for regular Marvel comics.
Yes, they are.
Okay.
Yeah,
it's a clever idea, some great artwork, but it's.
But wait a minute. For me, I have to say, because since Ian went to it, what's more important is Marvel's returning to the Planet of the Apes, and the creative team is Dave Walker and our very own Dave Wachter.
Yes, indeed.
Look at that.
The power of the Daves compels me with this. This is a wonderful creative team, and that Marvel continues to grab the license works like this is pretty. I mean, it's reminiscent of the old days, but at the same time, I know that they just recently lost the rights to Conan, so now that's off and with somebody else, and to replace it with Planet of the Apes, not too shabby. So checking that out on page 2 with the preview artwork.
Look at that variant cover by Mike McCone. Oh, look at that!
Oh man,
McCone, great artist. Good to see his work again.
I know he only really does covers, but man, I would love for him to do sequentials again. That would be super. And Return to Guardians of the Galaxy on page 7. Colin Kelly and Jackson Lanzig on the writing chores with Kev Walker artwork. Who are the Guardians of the Galaxy? We will find that out together.
A team of characters I'm looking forward to reading again suddenly. This is a good creative team here.
Yes, it is. Yeah. 1 year ago, the Guardians of the Galaxy were destroyed, their optimistic future shattered by the betrayal of one of their own, Now they ride the space lanes of a lawless corner of the galaxy, trying to outrun their tragedy. Can they rediscover their heroism and humanity on the bleakest frontier? Can they forgive the failures of their past? Or will they fade into the dark, eternally unforgiven? We got some space western action.
In spades.
Yep. And look at these character designs by Kev Walker. I love that Drax.
Yeah, they're great. That is a great Drax. Wow.
Yeah. And Western Quill. Then there's
Bill Mantlo.
Yep.
So we're go ahead.
No, I was going to say Rocket Raccoon Marvel Tales. So it's retelling Rocket Raccoon 1 through 4, repackaging that is with Mike Mignola pencils.
Yeah, we're gonna down the road at some point. We're gonna do an episode about the Micronauts, and I want to talk a lot about Bill Mantlo, who as a writer had an enormous impact on Marvel in the late '70s and early 1980s. Unfortunately, he was in a hit and run, and he's been incapacitated ever since. But very important writer.
Definitely. Right underneath that, just speaking of important writers.
Yep.
Adam Warlock's Strange Tales 178 Facsimile Edition on page 9, as Adam Warlock is about to become a lot more MCU relevant.
I'm fascinated to see how they're going to use him in this film.
I agree.
Yep.
Agree.
Murd looks like he's a little trepidatious about it.
Yeah, I'm smiling pretty tightly right now.
I think it'll be great.
I expect to be mildly disappointed, but I'll laugh hard at everything else, I promise.
It's fine. They didn't call it Atlantis. It's perfectly fine.
Fantastic.
Well,
but here's a Ron Howard the Duck variant cover.
And I was going to say you're probably going to appreciate this one a lot more. Just Ron Mars and Ron Lim on Warlock.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Heck,
variant covered by Jim Chung.
There's a period setting involved here. I mean, you can see young Janice Vell in the background of the art on page 11.
Mm-hmm.
And Howard has the Infinity Gauntlet. What can go wrong in that variant cover?
Everything could go wrong.
Now he knows Quack Fu. It'll be fine.
Yep.
Exactly. Introduces a new character that will forever impact Warlock's legacy. How long is forever? We'll see.
Now, one quick question. The Guardians trailer. Murd, have you seen the Guardians trailer?
Well, I've seen a Guardians trailer.
Okay.
I haven't seen the most recent one.
That's the High Evolutionary in there, correct?
I think I had heard that he was going to be involved.
Right? That's who I'm thinking that character is.
That is
Okay.
who it is, yes.
All right. Even more excited now.
Yep.
Okay.
And especially, as we've mentioned on previous comic talks, the High Evolutionary kind of has a lot to do with mutants, doesn't he? Maybe. We'll see.
I love when you put on your deer stalking cap and start detecting.
You
You got to give it up for a character like Blastar has been hanging on since the Silver Age.
Yes. and Ralph Macchio on the writing
Ah,
wow,
Master.
man.
and there's your boy on the cover.
Yes.
Todd Knock cover.
Yes, indeed. Yep. Todd Knock on the cover chores with David Tinto on the interior. And it's kind of hard not to say Blastar's name like you're like Strong Bad, like Blastar. Blastar was a man. But yeah, like you say, Blastar just keeps coming back for more.
He's still around.
Yep, we got more to come. Alien number 1. This has been solicited before, I believe, or is this just another Alien series? But Declan Shelvey and Andrea Braccardo bringing us a first issue of a new ongoing from the looks of it. Issue 3 of Storm and the Brotherhood of Mutants says Sins of Sinister continues on page 14, and then Sins of Sinister Dominion by Kieran Gillen on page 15. Looks like we're definitely coming to some sort of a conclusion with the X-Men in one way or the other.
And here's the end of Aaron's 5-year Avengers run.
Yeah.
Avengers Assemble Omega on page 17.
Yep. And what a cover.
Yeah, it's a great cover.
Yep. Everything.
Look at that variant Galactus cover by Alex Ross. Wow.
Oh, man. Yep. That is something else.
War Across Time.
Yep. issue 4 or 5. We're getting close to the conclusion.
First issue 1 was really fun.
Yeah. Avengers Beyond by Derek Landy and Greg Land.
Greg Land.
Yep. Issue 2 of 5 of that one. Violence tears New York apart. The ordinary citizens become crazed, superpowered thugs with nothing but wanton destruction on their minds. Janet Van Dyne fights to save not only the lives of her fellow heroes, but also a friendship.
Oh, come on. And you should have said the wonderfully winsome wasp.
Wonderfully winsome.
You know, I think of the late, great George Perez when he did that Herculean Avengers poster where he portrayed on the frame. I think Shane has it in his cave. Every costume iteration of the Wasp. Incredible.
Forming the border.
The border of the entire poster.
Group shot of every single character who had ever been an Avenger to that time.
Yep. All right. This is Cantwell doing Hellcat, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yes,
actually.
it is.
Enough is spinning out of his Iron Man run.
And he really revitalized that character in that Iron Man, his already legendary Iron Man run. So I can't wait to see what he's going to do here. Ooh, Sleepwalker's in it, Murd.
I did not even know. I was already buying this, Chris. I'm happy to say. Doubly glad now. I mean, I love what he was doing with Patsy and her burgeoning friendship / slightly more than friendship with Tony, but now spinning over into this miniseries and bringing in the Sentinel of the Dreamscapes.
Yep. I remember mentioning the Sleepwalkers last month when we covered this Murd. So I do remember that and being very happy at the time. And now just mentioning the singular Sleepwalker in the second issue. Yes, down with this. Very down with it. Page 22, issue 2 of Jed McKay's Doctor Strange with Pascal Ferry art.
Great art.
Oh, wow. God, that artwork.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. Look at that black cat.
An unending sleeping sickness struck the children of Bleecker Street. Yeah, you're right. That black cat is excellent. Ooh, wow. And look at that cover. That Alex Ross cover.
Jeez.
Man. Spider-Gwen shadow clones. This one's a Sandman clone.
Always good to see Gwen, even when
They
she's
won't be content until they
into
turn
sand.
Gwen Stacy into every single character in the Marvel universe.
You know what? You know what's great about this one in particular, Murd, is that I'm reminded of the Spider-Man animated series from the 90s, where Spider-Man thought that he got Mary Jane back, but it turned out to be a engineered clone of Hydro Man. That, like basically Mary Jane wound up turning into water because it wasn't really Mary Jane. It was a clone of Hydro Man the entire time. Like, yeah.
Yeah, is right. I think I must have stopped watching that show by then because I don't remember that at all.
That was a little bit before the Secret Wars, which was great, but yeah, that was not its finest moment. Red Goblin issue 3, as it runs in the family, so they say. We get the Goblin King involved with Goblin Nation.
Great Romita Jr. cover.
Oh man,
Goblin Nation.
And it's basically an alternate angle of the first time the Fantastic Four and Spider-Man met.
That's right. Good callback. Good callback, Ian. Yep.
That is good eyes there, Ian.
Yeah. Well done.
That.
Yep. Amazing Spider-Man 23 there with Wells and Romita Jr. What did Peter do?
Which has been the question since the first issue of the series.
Yep. Issue 24. Witness what brought Peter and Norman together. So we get to find that out also on page 31. And then 32 gives us the 5th and final issue of Mary Jane and Black Cat. Is
Miles Morales, because I've lost track, is he in the current Marvel universe, or is he still in a alternate reality?
He is still in the current Marvel universe.
Is, okay.
However, and I do say a however, this was recently announced as today when we were recording this. There is a 4-issue miniseries coming out that we will see solicited in a future previews. Jonathan Hickman and Brian Hitch bringing back the Ultimate Universe in one form or another.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So that's
because it was the Secret War story where he was folded into the right. Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah. As was the Ultimate Reed Richards,
right,
and a couple of other Ultimate characters. All right, moving forward. Illumination, a new arc of Venom, begins on page 30.
I haven't read this series, but it's Al Ewing writing it, and Kafu on art, who did wonderful work on Cantwell's Iron Man.
Before this, it was Brian Hitch. So this is Kafu's, I think, first issue on the series, if not his second.
Look at the variant covers Ross is doing of the Spider-Man Rogues Are. Look at that lizard you just passed over.
Oh,
holy mackerel! Like jumps off a Ditko page. Incredible.
And the Doc Ock on the next page.
Even with a paunch.
I mean,
bowl cut.
You got to have the paunch. I mean, come on. We're getting to the end of the Spider-Verse on page 7. Jessica Drew gone. Peter Parker gone. I don't think they're gone. I don't.
He's so cynical. God, man, he's such a young man. Come on,
get off my spider lawn. Page 37, Marvel's Voices Spider-Verse #1, an awesome assembly of Marvel's mightiest, as an all-new selection of interdimensional adventures from some of Marvel's freshest and finest creators, including Cody Ziegler, Jeremy Holt, Steve Fox, Jay Holtman, and more. Bring their take on the Spider-Verse, essentially. Always nice to see. Page 37. Look at that Rogue and Gambit cover.
That's a great cover.
Yep. Page 39, continuing that Rogue and Gambit miniseries. Colossus and Laura Kinney Wolverine join X-Force with page 39.
Colossus has his beard back again.
Yes, he does. I love Colossus with a beard. Even though it makes no sense on top of the skin, but still, it looks really good.
Yeah.
The beard is also made of metal. Lord of the Brood.
We got Brood back.
Yep. Jerry Duggan, Stefano Caselli.
Always a great X-Men adversary.
Mm-hmm. Page 44. And I'm glad they stuck with this particular costume for Cyclops. I've always been a fan of that one.
I like that one too. The Brood, I think some of the creepiest X-Men stories ever put to page in the 80s feature the Brood. I mean, obviously they're riffing on aliens, but Claremont, gave them speech powers and like they could talk, and which made them all the more frightening, actually.
Absolutely.
And the fact they would enslave like these space whales and make them like their husks they would use like for that to travel around. It's really well done.
And it also gave me my favorite Wolverine and the X-Men character, which is Brew.
That's right. Yep. I love a good facsimile edition, honey.
And we'll point out for those of you who have yet to check out our Magneto Spotlight. These would be two excellent facsimiles to pick up.
Yes, we certainly reference both.
X-Men 63 issue 1 and X-Men 91 issue 1, all available here.
In case you didn't get one of the million copies of X-Men 91 #1, here's a facsimile edition.
Ooh, it has the gatefold, but the important question is the poster on the other side? Because
it's $7.99, the 91 version.
Yeah, I really hope it has the poster. I may have to go out and just get that, honestly, if it has the poster. We'll see. Miracle Man Marvel Tales. Wow.
So these are reprints, hence Moore is called the original writer.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. Page 47.
Those books blew my mind when I read them when I was about 12. That was the first Alan Moore stories I ever read.
We're getting a Cold War storyline in Captain America Sentinel of Liberty. Colin Kelly and Jack.
MODOK.
Yep.
We'll be talking about him soon.
Yes, we most definitely will.
I love Ian's tone.
I'm not giving anything away.
I know.
Did I like it? Did I not like it? You'll have to listen to the episode to find out.
It looks like the two Captain America series are crossing over here, Sentinel of Liberty and Symbol of Truth.
Mm-hmm.
And they seem to be dipping back into Rick Remender's Captain America run from the Marvel Now days.
Yes.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah, you're right.
That's what he ends up in other universe, right?
Dimension
Murd with the kid.
Z.
Yeah,
That's
that's right.
Yep. I was surprised by how much I enjoyed that. Because
It was a big departure.
I was going to say, because I tend to like my Captain America grounded. I like him. On the front, and this was very much the opposite of that.
Well, I felt it was in the spirit of like the trippy Kirby 70s Captain America.
Exactly.
I think it was really inspired by that.
Yep. And Captain America Unforgiven, #1. Captain America Vampire Hunter. It's Tim Seeley with the writing. So yes, Captain America Vampire Hunter.
Well, one of my all-time favorite Captain America stories from the classic Roger Stern, John Byrne 80s run is when he fights Baron Blood, the Nazi vampire, and he uses his shield in a particularly brutal way. That's a story I think we should address at some point. It's a classic.
Oh, yes. That's on my shopping list.
That's a classic.
One of my mini shopping lists of back issues to track down. Captain America and the new Union Jack.
Yep.
Going up against the old Baron Blood.
Age 52. Clobbering Time #2.
Oh, that looks very unpleasant, Ben.
It does. It really does. But Steve Scroce knocking it out of the park. This is it's going to be Wolverine versus Thing. Yeah, it's going to be worth our time.
Oh, look at the Alex. I mean, we're accustomed to Alex Ross's work at this time, but still, it still takes my breath away. Cover Fantastic Four 6.
I feel like there's been a little bit more oomph in the past.
You think so?
I think so. I think he's definitely he loves drawing these covers for Marvel. He's as much.
It shows.
You can tell the passion he's putting into this, especially with.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just saying, especially with the Fantastic Four, since those are some of his favorite characters.
Yeah, and we discussed the OGN he did last year, which was breathtaking.
I just got it as a late birthday.
Oh, terrific! Mm-hmm. Look at that Annihilus variant cover. Damn.
Yep. And then on page
great Wasp cover. Oh, all right. We got 4 of the costumes there.
Yep. And issue 4 of 4 of the Wasp series by Al Ewing. Going down a little bit further, She-Hulk issue 12.
That's a series I got to read. I know you recommend it highly.
Oh yeah, and it's the landmark 175th issue of She-Hulk. Face to face with a brand new villain, Scoundrel. She also puts her whole law practice in danger.
Jen.
Some bonus stories in there as well. Ooh. What a interesting cover there for Hulk 14. Some body horror action.
Murd, don't look away, Murd, look away.
That's okay.
Hulk Planet Finale. Ryan Ottley on writing, Ryan Ottley on artwork.
I think it's safe to say at this point that Bruce Banner's life sucks.
Yes.
Look, the man never gets a break.
Yes.
Look at that cover.
And he might continue living this crappy life until the end of time.
Yeah.
Hulk the End. Yes. And the final issues of both Monica Rambeau Photon and Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur animated series recently premiered on Disney, and I think will be on Disney Plus shortly.
Yeah, I haven't watched that.
4 or 5 of Joe Fixit on page 62. Look at this Ghost Rider. Wow. Ben Piercy and Corey Smith. Catches Keeper. Another Ghost Rider is on the loose, leaving behind a wake of fiery destruction and brutality beyond measure. Is Danny Ketch to blame? Or will the clues lead Johnny Blaze and Talia Warroad to something even more sinister?
Isn't this series getting good notices?
Yes, it is.
It is, right? Yeah. Because I haven't read a Ghost Rider comic in a long time.
Yeah. Ooh.
Wow.
65.
Starsky's still on Daredevil.
Oof. Daredevil number 10. Is that U.S. Agent's Shield?
It looks like it. This is a series I'm way behind on, which is shameful because I've always read Daredevil religiously, but I got to catch up because the first volume I read of it, this was superb.
Oh, boy. Ooh.
Yeah, Jason Aaron returning to Darth Vader. That's enough.
Yep. Giving him the black, white, and red treatment.
Mm-hmm.
Written by Jason Aaron, Peach Momoko, and Torun Grunbeck, with art by Ms. Momoko and some other people to be determined.
Yep.
Cover by Alex Malev.
What a cover.
Yeah, that's tremendous.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're in the Star Wars section.
Yep. Issue 5 of 5 of the Star Wars Hidden Empire miniseries by Charles Soule and Stephen Cummings.
Soule's done great work with Star Wars.
Absolutely.
Uh-oh.
Yes. You know what? I was going to save it for a comic talk, but I may as well say it now. I'll talk about it more on the comic talk itself. But when I was up in Buffalo, I got to see a parody of Wicked called Wicket, and it was all about the Ewoks. So I'm in the Ewok mood right now.
You gonna crack on one of the old '80s TV specials?
I might,
or the cartoon, for that matter.
Yes, Tales of the Ewoks by Alyssa Wong with Lee Garbett and others on the artwork.
That main cover is awesome.
It is really good.
Yeah, that's a great cover by, it looks like Ryan Brown. Yeah.
One of my favorite parts of the Wicket one was, and I would explain it to you more, but I won't because you're the nerds, not me. Nerds.
Whenever I think of the epic battle Return of the Jedi on Endor, it just further confirms that in certain hands, these stormtroopers are the most incompetent soldiers you could ever possibly imagine.
Oh yeah, the worst. The only ones that may be more incompetent are the Decepticons from Frisky Dingo. That's about it.
You were defeated by small furry creatures with spears.
What did you do wrong, Ronnie? Took off my robot pants. Onto the trades, page 76. Miles Morales, Spider-Man by Saladin Ahmed omnibus. This collects a whole lot of Miles Morales work. Miles Morales, Spider-Man 1 through 42, as well as Absolute Carnage Miles Morales 1 through 3. Issue 81 of Amazing Spider-Man, Miles Morales The End, and material from Free Comic Book Day 2019. Amazing Spider-Man 49 and Miles Morales Spider-Man Annual.
It's a lot. $125 before discount.
Yes, indeed.
Wonder Man, the early years.
Yes.
Always a Marvel character I really enjoy because he's so quirky and the whole movie actor angle is often very entertaining. And then, of course, his team-ups of the Beast are some of the stuff of buddy cop legend, like in superhero form.
Absolutely.
So I just got the reprint of the great Wonder Man Beast. What was it called? Murd, do you remember this? Came out, I think, in the 90s.
Oh, good grief.
Oh, I got the
Avengers 2, maybe?
Yeah. And I'm looking forward to reading it again.
Yep. And we've been hearing more and more rumblings about the Disney Plus series that will be coming with Wonder Man. As they looks like they are going to be casting the Grim Reaper at some point.
Wow, well, they got to. Essential.
Mm-hmm. Directly underneath that, page 78, Phoenix Omnibus Volume 2, Cycle of Death and Rebirth.
So this is all post the Dark Phoenix saga. So you've got the classic From the Ashes we've talked about in the past, which is in trade form also. That's by Claremont Paul Smith, which is great. And then all the, looks like Inferno related stories and
Yep.
Right, all that.
Poor
Matty Pryor. Yep.
As well as the actual return of Jean from that Fantastic Four issue, and the Avengers, and then
which, for my peanut gallery, is still one of the worst decisions Marvel ever made. Bringing Jean Grey back.
I would agree with you. Had they actually gone with their original plan and not killed her in the first place, just depowered her, then it would have made a lot more sense. But killing her, she should have stayed dead. But that's life.
Ooh, that's a Sigil. That's one of the cross-gen books, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Barbara Kessel, Mark Waid, Chuck Dixon, and Tony Bedard.
If they re-release, I love some of the Sigil cross-gen titles. I might get a couple of these. Scion, I loved. Ruse, good stuff.
At this point, they're literally republishing them to keep the rights going. But I would love to see more at some point. Why not? If you have the rights, you may as well just go ahead and dip your toe back in and see if there's enough to bite, Look at that Romita Jr. cover for the Avengers Omnibus Volume 1.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yep.
So you want to go on the ground floor of classic Avengers history. You got volumes 1 and 2 of the omnibus. 1 through 30 is the Lee Kirby Heck stuff. Then you get into the great Roy Thomas, John Buscema stuff in volume 2, which goes through issue 58.
Yep.
Essential early Marvel.
Absolutely.
And then they have the Invisible Iron Man omnibus volume 1 being printed again.
Mm-hmm.
See Tony Stark at swing cocktail parties. See Pepper and Happy and the whole gang in the Silver Age.
Volume 17 of the Hulk Marvel Masterworks. You hurt
Bill
children. You hurt girl. Now Hulk will hurt you.
Yeah, the Bill Mantlo Sal Buscema stuff is good stuff. A lot of key developments in the Hulk's history that occur in those stories.
Yep.
Now we got some of the Burn FF here as well.
Mm-hmm. Nathaniel Richards, page 83.
One Marvel omnibus I would recommend. I don't know if it's still in print. They did a complete Burn FF omnibus, which is awesome. Which encompasses his entire classic run.
Yep.
We did a spotlight on that era some years back, actually.
Yep. I've still got the hardcover as a souvenir.
Yeah. They're resoliciting the What If.
There's your What Ifs, honey.
Yep. But this is the classic stuff for the most part. With a couple.
This is the second volume of What If, correct?
Oh yes.
Yep,
You're right.
Late 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
Yep, issues 1 through 39 and Quasar number 30 because they've got that crossover they did.
You read some of these issues, right, Ian, when you were growing up, didn't you?
Yep.
Yeah.
I remember very well What If Wolverine was an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. I believe that was Liefeld artwork, if I remember correctly.
Gallery edition, the Kevin Smith run on Daredevil. I just got the gallery edition I was showing it to you fellows of the Avengers Kree Skrull War, which is gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so cinematic. So I'm sure that's going to look great too. The Daredevil one,
absolutely. And they're already soliciting Spider-Man Volume 1 by Slott and Bagley, the beginning of the end of the Spider-Verse. That's on page 86 with the main cover there on page 87. And going down a bit further, they have Mark Guggenheim's Han Solo and Chewbacca Volume 2.
Noto.
Yep. They seem to have abandoned page numbers. There we go. 2, 1. So that was on page 81, the Han Solo and Chewbacca. All right. Oh, yes, actually. This is a great one.
Brian K. Vaughan.
Yep. The Hood, the Saga of Parker Robbins. Brian K. Vaughan, Jeff Parker, and Rick Remender on this one here. Collecting the Hood 1 through 6, Dark Reign, the Hood 1 through 5, and materials from Dark Reign, the Cabal. On page 96. The volume 2 of She-Hulk on the next page, 97. Now this is. I'm glad that they're collecting this right before
X-Men 92
series comes out. X-Men 92: The Saga Continues, written by Chad Bowers, Chris Syme, and Steve Fox on page 99. There, collecting X-Men 92 issues 1 through 4, X-Men 92 1 through 10, the second series, and X-Men 92 House of XCII, House of 92, numbers 1 through 5. And this is also the series that made Jay and Miles of Jay and Miles Explain the X-Men official Marvel canon, as I believe they show up as I think working in the arcades in one of these X-Men 92 miniseries.
Generation X, wow.
Yep. The Epic Collection, Secret of M, Volume 3 of that series, including one of the best single issues of a comic. I'm just going to straight out say, period. Generation X Underground by Jim Mahfood. That is...
I don't think I've ever read that.
It is such a good issue. For the longest time, it was out of print. And now, clearly, they're bringing it back into print as part of this Epic Collection, and I hope that it's also available on Marvel Unlimited. I haven't read it in years. But
I remember when this series first premiered. It was one of the most exciting Marvel comics out there. I loved it. People loved it. Yep. Such a breath of fresh air.
That underground issue was basically letting some of the best underground artists and writers of the time take on Generation X, and it was great.
But what was not a breath of fresh air is the next book coming up, Ian.
Oh boy,
Teen Tony, baby.
Iron Man: The Crossing.
Well, or actually, what led up to Teen?
Yeah,
Tony.
what led up to Teen Tony. Holy mackerel!
Even the design of the
God,
like, what is?
Yeah, he looks like a giant pill bug.
It's the 90s. I mean, there's nothing else more you can say about it. But
The only way I could describe
it's a painful period.
The gauntlets look like Onslaught's gauntlets. Like that's it's of the era, but still it doesn't make any sense.
No, it's not.
It actually looks more, now that I think about it, it looks more like Arno Stark than Tony Stark.
That's a good point.
Yep, those big metal epaulets he's got going on there.
Yep.
Good Silver Age stuff. Sergeant Fury.
Page 103, volume 2 of the Epic Collection.
Marvel does war comics.
Yep. Dick Ayers on the pencils.
Legend.
And then,
oh my God,
new printing, baby. Maximum Carnage. Page 104. You thought
I just can't.
You thought Carnage was great before. Now he's Maximum. 105. She-Hulk. Howard the Duck. Need we say more?
The cosmic squish principle. All that matters is the name that follows. Gerber.
Yes. Buzz Dixon involved with that as well.
Brian Hitch.
Louise Simonson. Aaron Lepresti on the artwork chores as well.
All right, yeah, the top of page 106 there is a trade that I'm actually planning to order. Spider-Woman by Dennis Hopeless. Yes. Written by Dennis Hopeless Hallam, penciled by Greg Land, Javier Rodriguez, and several others. It's kind of an underrated run on Jessica Drew here, because not only does she become a mother in this run, but she also, for a time, befriends the porcupine. And I'm not sure.
Porcupine's alive again?
I'm not sure if it's Alexander Gentry or some relative of his inside of the suit, but he becomes a supporting character and kind of goes road tripping with Jessica Drew.
Because the original Porcupine met a very heroic death in a classic Grunwald Captain America.
Yes, and then he got his own portrait in Avengers Mansion with the placard, Alexander Gentry, the Porcupine, honored foe of the Avengers. So I for that reason, for exactly that reason, Chris, I kind of hope that this is not Alexander Gentry, but some other porcupine. But
good story.
It's the fact that somebody in a porcupine costume is a supporting character in this series is enough to make me want to read it. So rather than digging around through back issue bins, I may just grab this trade. It's 536 pages for $50.
Mm-hmm. Not too shabby. Right underneath, back in print, X-Men: The Dark Phoenix Saga.
It's amazing that's ever out of print. My God.
I think they just say, I mean, they can perpetually say new printing. It's the exact same thing as the old printing. It's a new printing. That's it. They haven't even changed the cover in a few years now. But yeah, Claremont and Byrne, can't get more classic than that. Mariko Tamaki and Vita Ayala's Peter Parker and Miles Morales Spider-Men Double Trouble graphic novel. Nice all ages Marvel graphic novel there, available on page 107. Only $14 before any sort of discount. So good price for a all ages book.
Indeed.
And then Marvelverse Monica Rambeau, Photon graphic novel.
I like these Marvelverse books. I saw them in my LCS. They just they have sort of key introductory issues from the past for each character.
Yep. Including the very first issue of hers that we read for here on the show with our introducing episode.
That's right. Got to do another one of those.
Oh, sure.
It's in the cards, and it'll be great when we get to it.
Oh, yeah, on page 109, there's some classic Kirby stuff from Tales of Suspense.
Yep.
That's a classic Kirby cover, the skull with the cosmic cube.
Yes, the first cosmic cube story. So this is the other trade in this month's Marvel previews.
These are like smaller versions of Marvel Masterworks. I picked up one of the Black Panther. They're great. They're nice additions.
Oh, yeah, it's a 6x9.
Yeah.
Very cool. And that is it for Marvel. Onward to Aftershock.
Now, this company is closing, right, Ian?
We don't know yet.
Oh, they're not. Okay. I've read some great stuff from Aftershock over the years.
We know that they filed for bankruptcy, but that doesn't necessarily mean
that doesn't mean they're closing. Yeah.
So we're hoping for the best. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. They seem to have stripped down their operation a bit to make themselves leaner and meaner because they're only releasing a couple of new things this month.
Yep. And you can tell they are because they stretched out their previews. They put a whole lot of little on these preview pages, and There unfortunately isn't really much to really spotlight because they're all stuff that we've mentioned before. But feel free.
It's a company that's some great stuff that's worth supporting.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Even here on page 219, I mean, they mentioned, some of this stuff is older than newer, but Lollipop Kids, I remember mentioning that looked pretty cool. Nick finds out he's a legacy to a secret society that for the last 400 years has kept these monsters in check. There's a ragtag group of kids, which he hope to put monsters back where when they get out of Central Park and destroy New York City. Page 219 for that one.
Aftershock's done. Garth Ennis has done great stuff for Aftershock.
Yes. And I really want to check out Chicken Devil. I haven't yet, just because it's called Chicken Devil, and it's got a great cover. And yeah, there's that Jimmy.
Well, that's Ennis's send of James Bond, which is it's hilarious.
Absolutely. All right, heading over to Titan. The Michael Moorcock.
Oh, great artist.
Multiverse Volume 1, page 224. Finding 3 unique and separate storylines from the Eternal Champion novels into one century-spanning epic story.
If that doesn't sell you, look at that 2-page spread on page 225.
Oh, I'm sorry to steal your there, Chris, but this is...
I grant it to you. It's Simonson.
That is something else, man. Talk about grandeur right there. Brilliant.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Page 226, In Search of Gil Scott-Heron, includes bonus article reviving Gil Scott-Heron's career and influence on the music industry. Single poet and writer, considered to be a godfather of rap, Gil Scott-Heron is a myth and legend in the Afro-American music scene. Through his personal experiences, Thomas Mauceri discovers the life of this genius alongside the complex past and present of the America that Scott-Heron lived in. 226, so someone that you may not have necessarily heard of that matters a lot in the music scene being commemorated there on page 226. And the Volume 1 of Blade Runner 2039, available on page 228, covers the first 4 issues of that series. Written by Mike Johnson with artwork by Andres Guinaldo. Nouns. Noun Town. Nice mini-series by writer David Leitch and artist Danny Schlitz. Noun Town. That's all you need to know.
Writer describes it as the Marx Brothers meets Hell's A-Poppin' meets Apocalypse Now meets Death in Venice if Venice were an insane theme park designed by Sid and Marty Krofft.
Wow. So we got Apocalypse Now and Sid and Marty Krofft in the same story. Okay.
There's something you don't see every day.
And the whole thing is bankrolled by Nouns DAO, which is some kind of cryptocurrency concern.
Page 230 for that madness. Una McCormick's Firefly novel, Coup de Grace, that is. The Serenity lands on a remote moon of Able for a lucrative job. Soon the crew becomes embroiled in a young woman's quest for vengeance and a starving frontier town's fight for survival. Page 234 there. All right, we get to further stuff, this time from Ablaze on page...
There's your Barbarians book.
You got it. Mighty Barbarians by Michael Morecci and Giuseppe Cafaro. All new ongoing series. From the writer of Barbaric comes the world-hopping, skull-crushing adventures of the Mighty Barbarians.
And it includes Morgan Le Fay and Cull.
Yep.
Oh.
And also the shape-shifting Nanook. Before the Avengers, the Justice League, the X-Men, before it all stood the Mighty Barbarians.
Okay, so it's like a sword and sorcery supergroup.
Yeah, basically.
Look at that Brave and the Bold variant cover they got going there.
Reminds me a little bit of that group of not quite prehistoric Avengers. What was it like?
The Savage Avengers.
Thank you. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. No, this looks interesting. 236. Cool character designs too.
Yeah, very much.
And ooh, that artwork. Yes, indeed. Got some good previews on 240 and 241. Look at that send up cover there for Children of the Black Sun.
Yeah, that goes back to, I want to say, a Steranko X-Men cover from the Silver Age, if I remember correctly.
X-Men number 50 parody.
Yep.
This book, by the way, on page 242 is from the artist of The House of Slaughter. It's not difficult to be happy under a blue sky, but it takes a lot of courage to be strong even under a black sun. 242, Children of the Black Sun. Yeah, Blaze is killing it with these send-up covers.
Look at that old Marvel style parody cover for of What If. Wow.
Lovecraft Unknown Kadath is the book in question on 243. Right. Let's get to a little bit further down here for Black History Month on page 247. This is offered again, but I don't know if we mentioned it the last time it was around. Friday Foster, the Sunday strips. This was Eisner and Ringo Award nominated back in the day, as we get a collection of all of these Friday Foster strips by Jim Lawrence and Jordi Langaron.
I'm not familiar with this at all. Wow.
Yeah.
And on the right, we have a Hendrix biography.
Mm-hmm. Hendrix Electric Requiem. All good stuff.
Tremendous musician.
247 for that stuff. Frank Miller brings us Pandora on page 250 as part of his Millerverse. Annabeth and Knox finally discover the relic she's been searching for, but will its power bring salvation or release hell on Earth? Turning point for the series and not to be missed.
Art by Emma Kubert.
Mm-hmm. Yep. What is the issue number for this? That is the question. Because this is not issue 1, clearly. They did not put an issue number on this. Oh, 4. There we go.
Mm.
What a place to hide it. Alrighty. Go figure. Page 250 there. Page 252.
Have you heard anything about this new Millerverse? Anybody talk about?
I've more heard that it's happening than anything else. Okay. And it now will have the return. I mean, it had it before, but another one shot by Dan DiDio included in this Millerverse, following the events of the previous one, Ancient Enemies. This is going to be Ancient Enemies, Wraith and Sun by Dan DiDio with Jose Luis on page 252.
Too much coffee, man.
Yeah. Always a fan. Always a fan.
Yeah. And this edition comes signed by Shannon Wheeler.
Ah, very nice.
Yep, there's more information on page 259 up ahead.
Well, there we go. I will head to 259 right now and make that happen. There we are. Yep. Too Much Coffee Man. Original comics 1 through 9.
I've never read an issue of this. I just the covers have always been hilarious to me. But
yeah, I may have written it. I may have read an issue of it back in the day, maybe one. Might have been part of a Free Comic Book Day collection, if I remember correctly. But I know it's been around for quite some time. And
it's a good price, $17 before discount for all 9 issues of the original series.
Absolutely. And it's signed. So there we go.
And right below it from Ahoy Comics, third miniseries of Second Coming, subtitled Trinity, from writer Mark Russell and artists Richard Pace and Leonard Kirk. And the premise here is that Jesus Christ has returned to Earth, and he's rooming with a Superman analog called Sunstar. And in this third installment, Sunstar and his version of Lois have had a kid, and Jesus gets to be the babysitter. Hilarity ensues. Hopefully not heresy with it.
Yes. Leonard Kirk on some of the artwork there.
I remember reading the first volume. I enjoyed it way back when.
Yep, it's not as sacrilegious as some people might think. Mark Russell has actually read some scripture.
Yep. And that first volume and the second volume resolicited on that next page, 260. New additions of that. On page 260 as well, Johnny the Homicidal Maniac graphic novel. As this collects issues 1 through 7 of Johnny the Homicidal Maniac by Jonan Vasquez, as well as material seen before only in Carpe Nocturne magazine. So get some new stuff thrown in there as well with one of Jonan Vasquez's seminal works on page 260. I do not need Cobra Kai action figures. I'm moving on. All right.
Fun show.
It is. It really is. Okay. Well, yeah, why not? I'll mention it. Page 267. Tomorrow Girl, number 1.
Great homage cover to the DC checkerboard covers of the Silver Age.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Ben Dunn and David Furr bringing this story together, along with Ben Dunn and Shigara on the artwork. The heroine of Quagmire High School officially gets her own series here, as Tomorrow Girl fights for freedom.
Antarctic Press.
Yep. 267. Yeah. Page 268. The Mighty Bite. What happens when a couple of prehistoric creatures want to become internet stars? Trilobite and Amber, a walking whale, dream of fame and fortune. They don't realize that most of the world thinks that they're extinct. I mean, with good reason.
It's a hard reputation to shake.
Yeah, I know. What with being prehistoric and all. Amulet Books putting this all ages very humorous story out on page 268. Bite-size Archie going viral. Page 270. Comic strip style Archie for us.
I like it.
Yeah. Nice artwork style too. Kind of chibi Archie. And then if you want more superhero Archie, and Archie and Friends, all action, not at all inspired by 1980s anime.
Now, Murd, from a historical perspective, is the superhero Archie part of the Red Circle titles? Is that what that was associated with?
Well, those are the Archie's or MLJ superhero characters.
Gotcha.
We're talking here about the actual Archie characters
Gotcha.
assuming superheroic identities, and that just came out under the regular Archie banner.
Yeah,
like Pure Heart the Powerful and so forth. We're looking at here is something original, or as original as a parody can be. It's Archie and pals as mecha driving monster fighters.
Yep. And as they describe it, it's equal parts Transformers and Pacific Rim. I am a fan of both of those things. Oh wow. I know that it's just a Hakes Auctions thing, but just seeing these things on page 2.
That's thrilling.
Giant size
X-Men 1, X-Men 1, Silver Age.
Always beautiful. Okay, scrolling down a bit more past Avatar and onward to AWA. Most things are mid-series, but 285, I'll mention Year Zero, Volume 0 by Daniel Kraus and Goran
Oh, great artist.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. This collects the 5 issues in the prelude to the hit series Year Zero, as we see how everything went down in this post-apocalyptic land. Page 285 for that one.
We're in the rest of the book, honey.
We most definitely are. Which means scroll until you find something that catches your eye.
If time was endless, we could talk about everything, but alas, we cannot.
I will mention on page 297, I believe this is the full solicit for it. This is what democracy looks like. This comic book was created by the world-famous Center for Cartoon Studies as part of a public education campaign. 32 pages, red, white, and blue, and a graphic guide to governance calls itself on page 297. This is what democracy looks like.
I hope it includes some of the more sordid aspects of how our government works or doesn't work, depending on your perspective.
Oh, and
go back to that Soviet thing we see there.
Yes. Jamie would want us not to miss this. This is on page 298 from CEX Publishing. Joseph 1957, number 1, by writer David Barzi, with art by Italian artist Fabiano Ambu. It's about a Soviet space gorilla. Enough said. Issue 1 of 2.
Yep.
Born on Joseph Stalin's birthday.
Wow. Yeah, that's good stuff.
I can't tell if it's based on a true story or not. And
I don't think it is, Murd. Yeah,
it's a gorilla, and gorillas sell comics.
And gorillas in space.
How do you say ook ook in Russian?
Jeffrey Brown doing on a Chronicle Books Thor and Loki Midgard Family Mayhem.
That
stuff's always fun.
Yep. Also on page 298, by the way, right on the bottom there. Chronicle Books. And then on page 299, Cinebook putting out Cossacks, Volume 1, Winged Hussar. All about in 1634 Ukraine. Karlis, a young winged hussar of Poland, Lithuania, sickened by the carnage of war, deserts. To wash their honor, the men of his old unit hunt him mercilessly, while 2 people secretly observe in pursuit. They are Cossacks. From a people.
I always said Cossacks.
Cossacks? I've heard it either. I've heard it either way. You're probably right. From a people of freedom-loving warriors, and it is with them that Karlis will even eventually find refuge.
Looks like they're diving deep into, not ancient, but older history from the Eastern European, Russia, Ukraine. I mean, the Cossacks are a fascinating. They're like their own society, of warriors that have fought both for and against the Russians at various times in history.
Absolutely. Page 304, Seraphina and the Black Cloak. This is by Disney Hyperion, and it's a softcover. Robert Beatty and Michael Morecci, both of which names I've heard before. Brandon Schemmel on the artwork chores. Seraphina has never had a reason to disobey her pa and venture beyond the grounds of Bitmore Estate. There's plenty to explore in her grand home, although she must take care to never be seen. None of the rich folk upstairs know that Seraphina exists. She and her pa, the estate's maintenance man, have secretly lived in the basement for as long as Seraphina can remember. Sounds like Parasite. But when children at the estate start disappearing, only Seraphina knows who the culprit is. A terrifying man in a black cloak who stalks Bitmore's corridors at night. This sounds fascinating, honestly. And by Disney Hyperion, which means it's going to be, for the most part, all ages, but that might be a little bit creepy, so your mileage may vary. But 304, Seraphina and the Black Cloak graphic novel may be worth the watch. Page 304. And then 305, The Man in the Macintosh Suit. Great name.
I love the opening sentence. A Filipino-American take on Depression-era noir.
Yep.
Featuring mistaken identities, speakeasies, and lost love.
Sounds right up your alley.
Yeah, sure does.
Rina Ayuyang on the writing and the artwork chores for The Man in the Macintosh Suit on 305. Scroll down a bit more here. Past Dynamic Forces.
Lily, I want to give you an anticipation, and we're not there yet, but I actually found a few items in the tchotchke back of the book I'm looking forward to discussing.
Oh boy, here we go. Yeah. Well, long before we get there, though, how about Edgar Rice Burroughs, John Carter of Mars, Gods of the Forgotten, new John Carter softcover by Geary Gravel and Ann Tonser Zedels. Always nice to see some further John.
I've never read any John Carter.
Really?
No, I mean I haven't even seen the movie. I know the princess is a popular character, but
I feel like the John Carter of Mars movie gets a bad rap for no reason.
I've heard some people say it's actually quite good. I've never seen it.
Yeah, it could have done a lot better.
Yeah.
Had it come out at the right time,
Mm.
and it just didn't. So it bombed. But further John Carter adventures for anybody who has read or wants to read on page 311.
So looking on page, go back if you could, Ian, just a little bit there to the Erie publications. So I think they're printing all the covers of the Erie horror comic magazine. What a great collection!
New printing features a different front cover and 20 additional pages of Blood Mayhem. So this is the expanded edition. They've done one before, but now this one has even more artwork to behold. Fantico Enterprises on 312. Got some great covers to choose from with that. Page 314, especially
Fabulous Furry Freak Brothers. Wow.
Yes, indeed. Yep. Grassroots and Other Follies by Gilbert Shelton, Dave Sheridan, and Paul Mavridis. This is all out of Fantagraphics, as we get some further Fabulous Furry Freak Brothers collections here.
One of the great indie comics.
Yep.
Currently finding new life as an animated series.
Yeah, I know about
Tubi.
that.
Yes. Which I will have to check out at some point. I mean, Tubi is free, and I'm
so reassured that Woody Harrelson is in it.
Yes, and as well as John Goodman, for that matter.
Yeah, they rarely make a bad step when it comes to things they do.
What I was going to point out though was right underneath that, especially after Sean Whalen mentioned on our last comic talk that he was reading the old Mickey stuff. Page 314 has Walt Disney's Silly Symphonies, starring Donald Duck and Bucky Bug. Another Fantagraphics collection of the old days from 1932 until 1935. Walt Disney's Silly Symphonies.
The Wild Adventures of Bucky Bug, the first Disney star created just for comics.
Mm-hmm. That's an achievement. Absolutely. And there's a Usagi Yojimbo special edition 2-volume hardcover box set on page 315.
Okay, maybe this is my way into the series, which I've never read.
I mean, you can't get more beautiful than a Fantagraphics box set. So
the first 7 books, because Deemer is always like, "How have you not read that book?" You know how he gets. Fantastic.
Yep.
And his recommendations are always gold. So
absolutely. The Art of Ariel Olivetti on page 316. What a striking artist. I mean, nobody quite does what Olivetti does, because it kind of like walks the thin line between photorealism and comic book artwork, and he always has. And it's nice to see a full collection of everything that he has to offer here. So a little bit of his Marvel stuff, a little bit of his DC stuff, and everything in between. As page 316 gives us the Art of Ariel Olivetti out of Fair Square Comics. The one that looks like it might be for you, Chris, on page 318. 3 spy thriller stories, all in one volume. Classified, Secrets, and Lies. Triple threat.
Sounds like my kind of work.
Indeed. Yep. While they're on 318. And a reprint of American Born Chinese.
Great book.
Soon to be a movie that will be available on Disney Plus. Coming later this year, if I remember correctly. Page 319 for anybody who hasn't checked that out yet. Yes.
Jose Garcia Lopez. Oh, God.
321. Just nothing in specific, but just a creator you should know, and it most definitely is a creator you should know.
Especially if you're a Superman fan, my God.
Oh my God. Member of the Overstreet Hall of Fame as of 2019, Jose Luis Garcia Lopez. Look at that Superman Takes a Wife cover. Beautiful.
Now, Murd, that's the Earth 2 Superman, right?
Right, you are, Chris.
Yep. I pay attention to your tutelage.
Page 324. Let's go with Sunshine. The extraordinary and extraordinarily powerful follow-up to Hey Kiddo. When Gerald J. Krasoska was in high school, he was part of a program that sent students to be counselors at a camp for seriously ill kids and their families. Going into it, Jared was worried. Wouldn't it be depressing to be around kids facing such a serious struggle? Wouldn't it be grim? But instead of the shadows of death, Jared found something else at Camp Sunshine, the hope and determination that gets people through the most troubles of times. Not only was he subject to some of the usual rituals that come with being a camp counselor, been there, done that myself, but he also got a chance to meet some extraordinary kids facing extraordinary circumstances. Learned about the captivity of illness for sure, but he also learned about the freedom a safe space can bring. And that's all there in Sunshine on page 324.
And there's the reissue of Hey Kiddo below it.
Indeed.
I got your back, Leppy Poo.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you. Terry Cruz's graphic novel right beneath that on page 325. Written by Terry Crews with Corey Thomas on co-writing chores and artwork, for that matter. Looks like it's ready to be a 1987 animated series from the looks of it. Page 326.
Humanoids.
This looks badass, honestly. Black Cat Social Club by Christopher Painter, Bob Quinn on the artwork. Story of 3 punk rock witches, Alice, Hazel, and Maggie. Cast spells with their songs to battle corporate demon jerks, defeat rival witch bands, save the world, and get to the next gig.
What a great cover.
Great cover. It's a great premise, too. This sounds awesome. Rock and roll witches, baby. Excellent artwork, too. Nachos, nachos, nachos. That devil looks like it's straight out of Hellboy.
Here's interesting, a bio of Rod Serling.
You got it. Yep.
The Twilight Man.
Rod Serling and the Birth of Television on page 330 by Humanoids. True story of the man behind the revolutionary Twilight Zone. Honestly, TV would not be the same without Rod Serling.
No. Nor the ending of Planet of the Apes.
Yes. Good point. They also have, if you like Twilight Man, try Lugosi, The Rise and Fall of Hollywood's Dracula, and Maryland's Monsters, both of which are available on page 335.
Okay, I have to talk about IDW for a second because I have to express shame right now.
We do every month.
Well, of course, my whole existence, but on Shane's behalf as well, I totally missed that they launched a new Star Trek comic 7 issues ago.
Yeah.
That features the return of Benjamin Sisko.
Would you like to know why we didn't realize it?
Okay, why didn't we realize it?
Because it said IDW Star Trek cover image coming soon in the solicit.
And then I didn't read the copy.
Yeah. IDW, at this point, I honestly feel like IDW needs to do one of two things. They either need to pull out of previews for a little bit and get their act together, or they need to simply get covers together because it's the entire IDW.
Yeah, I'm going to go on Comixology because I really want to read this story.
Yeah.
Not to mention, the Cantwell's doing a Star Trek Worf story here, Defiant issue 2. So I missed issue 1 of that. So this is stuff I want to read.
Yeah, and that I've heard nothing but positive things about that Star Trek series.
Yeah, I'm going to go online and read it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And there's other stuff here that, like, there's even stuff that should have covers, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin, Lost Years #1. It's a director's cut. You can at least put a cover of the original version up there so that they have something. I hope IDW is doing okay.
Yeah, they're doing nothing but hurting themselves by the absence of preview artwork here, because it's just Chris's situation here as an example. It's people who might like to read the stuff they're putting out are not finding it because there's no image to go with it.
Absolutely. Yep. All right, well, skipping down past them to Iron Circus Comics on page 339, This looks like it might be for fans of American-born Chinese, actually. The Lizard Prince and Other South American Stories by Kate Ashwin and Kel McDonald. Artwork by Various. Cursed Princes, Doomsday Prophecies, and Faithful Nighttime Visits from a Legendary Sorcerer. These are just a few of the ancient tales whispered in the forests of South America, retold in this beautifully drawn comics treasury. That sounds like it's a lot of fun, actually. Especially the Lizard Prince. Head down to Silence, page 343, by Devin Kraft. It's a rock and roll mythology mashup, all about Joanna Jones, who returns to her hometown of Anthem to discover the ship her father sailed on has gone missing. She ends up aboard a yellow submarine, definitely rock and roll, named the Heart of Gold, headed directly into Hades' Hexagon to find the missing crew, accompanied by her childhood best friend, a rich young addict, and a punk legend. I'm in on this. That sounds cool. That is a great premise. And then directly next to that, Deadly Waters, a Silver Streak novel. Fighting.
I love that cover. Wow,
it's great. Yeah, this is an actual novel, by the way, not a graphic novel, but it's about Silver Streak and his sidekick Wiz, and their adventures along the way.
Cool. The Strange Death of Alex Raymond by Dave Sim.
Yes. Yep. Yeah.
Wow. So he's giving us a history of Alex Raymond. Of course, is obviously legendary for his work on Flash Gordon. Wow. Really interesting. He talks about Hal Foster, Stan Drake.
Excellent. And on that same page, Little Brown and Company, Ay Mija, My Bilingual Summer in Mexico. Reminds me of I can't remember the full title, but that book about the woman's trip to Israel.
Oh yes, I know the one you mean. Yep.
Yeah. Looks like it's going to be along those same lines here. Christine Sugs, all about when she was 16 years old and taking her first solo trip to Mexico to spend a few weeks with her grandparents and Tia, and what went along with that. Little Brown and Company. And then directly underneath that, Harriet Tubman, Toward Freedom graphic novel.
Who was supposed to end up on the $20 bill, but it seems to have been derailed for now.
Yeah, for now. Hopefully that will change at some point. But yeah, 344 there, Harriet Tubman, Toward Freedom. 346 almost sounds like it should be the name of a James Bond. Exorcists Never Die.
Steve Orlando writing.
Along with that, Sebastian Perez on the artwork chores. Sid Miller and Ellen Blair are the world's two premier combat exorcists. Those are words. Combat exorcists. The only problem after a nuclear breakup years ago, they can't stand each other. But when the biggest soul action in history kicks off beneath Los Angeles, Sid and Ellen have no choice but to come together to raid the Hellscraper, an infernal tower going straight down into Earth. With thousands of souls on the line, Sid and Ellen must find their way to the bottom or die trying. Dig it, dig it, dig it.
Yeah, I like the art.
Supernatural meets Die Hard, I feel like.
Yep.
Tao Bang on 354, written by Daniel Pequer and Olivier Vatine.
You're making an intrepid effort this month with pronouncing people's names, honey.
I always do, and I'm hoping I at least get it anywhere near what they're actually pronounced as. But this is like Conan the Barbarian meets Pirates of the Caribbean. That's enough of a crossover for me. Pirate shenanigans, basically, in a swashbuckling fantasy adventure packed with scoundrels and anti-heroes. Dig the concept, dig the artwork, dig the premise. 354. And on page 356, collecting Simpsons merchandise and legacy softcover. I may have to get this from the library. I'm not going to own it, but I may get it from the library just to see all the weird things that have been put out over the years with Simpsons branding on it, most of which are actually legit, not even like bootleg merchandise. Mango putting that one out on 356. I just saw McBain action figures the other day. Damn it, McBain! You're out of line! Nice to see you. All right, onward into Oni, another company that I thought was going under, and supposedly they're not, so that's good. I would rather them not. Missing You by Philip William, illustrated by Melissa Garabelli. Siblings Thomas and Laura recently lost their mother. When they spot an injured deer on the side of the road, they decide to rescue it and name him Lion. The new woodland creature brings warmth and fun back into their lives, and a sweet companionship begins. Before meeting Thomas and Laura, Lion also missed his mother. Baby deer was left alone after losing his mother to hunters. Upon meeting the siblings, Lion finds comfort in their new friendship. But when Lion grows more curious about the forest beyond the house, Thomas and Laura start to wonder if the woods are where Lion belongs. After so much loss, will the children be able to say goodbye? Missing You on page 360. This could easily be a animated movie at some point. Got a lot of story going on there.
Sure.
Yep. And look at that artwork.
Oh, it's beautiful. Oof.
Well.
Yeah, that's gorgeous.
And then for something completely different. Morty with Rick hair. We're doomed. We're absolutely doomed. Ongoing series, Rick and Morty, issue 4 by Alex Ferrer and Mark Ellerby, page 364. Pink Lemonade, issues 1 through 6. Finally.
A love story between a girl and Murd, a bunch of old cartoons on VHS.
Yep, I know. I've been collecting this series.
Of course.
Yep, first couple of issues came out from a much smaller publisher that probably doesn't exist anymore, and now I've found a new home at Oni, and I'm all for it.
Look at the artwork right there in particular. Like that's it's so good.
Right, look at that hair. Wow.
Oh my god. The Captain Planet mullet.
He's gonna take pollution down to 0.
Yes. All right, bringing it down a little bit further here. Page 370. Plastic Man artwork. Plastic Man Softy Volume 2, featuring art by the great Jack Cole, firmly locating Plastic Man in the humor superhero genre. Collects Plastic Man 5 through 8. And on top of that, also some Black Hawk.
Reed Crandall
action as well. Yeah.
Murd, Plastic Man was Quality Comics originally, correct?
That is correct, right, and okay. so was Black Hawk for that matter.
And then DC purchased them.
Right.
Yep. Page 370 for all that.
Good shout out to the history there, Ian.
Yes, definitely. And even further history on 371 there.
Silver Age Classic Space Avengers Volume 7 by Dick Giordano, among others.
Yep, and including Steve Ditko, because this volume contains the first appearance of his version of Captain Atom.
Oh, this is Charlton stuff. Yep. All right.
You bet.
And directly across from that, PS Art Books, Captain Marvel Facsimile editions. Facsimile of Captain Marvel great. Adventures number 18, Captain Marvel Jr.
Those
4.
Macro Boy covers. Oh, God.
Marvel Family number 4, 371 is chock full of history right there.
While we're approaching tomorrow, I can feel the energy starting to pulse through my...
About 374 before we get there. The Best of Jane Bond. Collection of campy espionage adventures from 1960 girls comics. Princess Tina is lovingly restored to its full glory and lavishly illustrated throughout by Mike Hubbard, the artist of iconic Daily Miller strip Jane Bond. Best of Jane Bond, 374.
You're right there, Ian. That sounded like an alarming motor very close to you.
That was Murd.
Oh, that was Murd?
Yep, somebody joyriding down Route 422 outside the Christmas party.
375, Rocket Ship Entertainment republishing Action Philosophers.
Ooh.
Time in a while. Yep. Fred Van Lente and Ryan Dunleavy's first volume of Action Philosophers reprinted here in graphic novel form. Happy to see that back in print any day of the week. Page 375. And for any fan of wrestling, Codename Ric Flair.
Is he still alive?
He is still alive.
Okay. All right.
Somehow. And even he would say that to you because he had a very severe heart attack about 4 years ago, and somehow came through and then wrestled again. He just had his final quote unquote retirement match this past year.
Is he in his 70s?
Yes, he is.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, very much so. This is about Nature Boy Ric Flair. Woo! Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, limousine riding, jet flying son of a gun, who's regarded by many as the greatest professional wrestler of all time, finally has his own comic series. Fact or fiction forays as a international super spy in the 80s and 90s. Somehow I think fiction, but I could be wrong about that.
Leaning a little more to that side of the equation, yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Man. Alrighty. I'm going to be bringing this to attention to a few friends of mine. Oh man.
They're at the page of top 377. For people who remember certain ads in the pages of 70s comic books.
Yeah, Count Dante Murd.
The man who was going to share his martial arts secrets.
Yes.
With the fortunate few who sent in their pennies. Here's a 6-issue miniseries telling the kinda true story about this real-life person. It's written by J.C. Barber, art by Wes Watson, and the cover art is by Carrie Nord, who was the artist of one of my favorite runs of Daredevil back in the mid-90s.
Yeah, great run.
Nice.
Carl Kiesel.
Good stuff.
So I can see him with the beard posing in the ads like that.
Me too.
Wow.
How about bottom of that same page, 377, Grim Space, P1 Nokia by Frank Martin and Ramiro Barallo. After malfunctioning repeatedly aboard his old ship, P1 Nokia was most grateful for being repaired and upgraded by a tinkerer named Petto. Petto. Just need to make that clear. He was so grateful that P1 Nokia dreamed of one day becoming a real boy to give Petto the son he always wanted. Unfortunately, the wide-eyed robot would soon learn that wishes made upon a star don't come true so easily. Take on the Pinocchio myth in space on page 377. Directly next to Snow White, Zombie Apocalypse, issue 2.
Pick your genre, throw zombies in it.
Yeah, right?
Pretty far away from the Zenoscope section for something like that.
I know, right? Oh, boy. Hector Rodriguez on 378 has Black Demon Tales. Chispa. When Mexican naval researcher Bella Gonzalez is wounded in an attack by a massive shark, she dedicates herself to destroying it. But can science eradicate something as ancient, as supernatural as the Black Demon?
Great cover.
Yeah. Old school horror action right there. Brought to today with Black Demon Tales #1 on 378. All right, I think we're definitely getting to tomorrow.
Oh, yes.
Let's get us there and see if anything pops in before them, but I think we're good. Yep, I think we're there. Here we are. Tomorrow's 383 Alter Ego.
First of all, so Alter Ego 182, Jerry Ordway cover.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like it's a Marvel. It's a Captain Marvel center feature issue.
Oh, yes. The Fawcett Collectors of America take center stage again in this issue of Alter Ego, as they periodically do. And those FCA footlights are flickering on for Uncle Marvel. He's the featured character here. And
Nice.
guess who's buying a copy for himself?
Could it be Murd?
It could be. It could be.
And back issue 44 goes into the Bronze Age Savage Lands, Khazar, Torok,
Wow.
Dagar and Trag, Annihilus, the Negative Zone, Planet of Vamp. Oh, I'm definitely getting this issue.
Featuring
Wow.
Jerry Conway, Paul Galassi, Larry
Yep.
Hama, Fabian Nicieza, Bart Sears, Roy Thomas.
Oh, terrific.
Man. Good offerings this month. Good offerings. And Jack Kirby's Dingbat Love offered on $3.94, part of comics history there.
Yeah, this is a reprint of some unpublished Kirby work from the 1970s.
Indeed. Yep.
True Life Divorce among them, and Soul Love.
The unseen 70s romance book, so funky, even a jive turkey will dig the unretouched inks by Vince Coletta and Tony DeZuniga. Excellent.
I think we're getting near your manga recommendation, honey.
We are getting there. How about $3.94 on the bottom there? Cliffhanger, the cinematic superheroes of the serials. That sounds like something for pants. That's that puts together a whole bunch of serials from Superman, Captain America, Spy Smasher, and Captain Marvel, and many more from days gone by when that was how you got your superhero fix in live action form.
Mm-hmm.
Something else by Christopher Irving, written on $3.94. And I am going to head to manga unless we have anything else between.
I'm good.
Look at his cover. Look at his cover for Vault Comics. Money Shot comes again.
I'm looking. It's about porn stars who turn space adventurers.
Tim Seeley. Page 401. Oh my God. Mixes sex with social commentary in a really funny way. And that's major spoilers saying that. So that's a site that I regularly follow. I will take their word for it 100%.
Yeah. Looks like the artist for this volume is Giselle Lagasse. Very talented good girl artist.
All right. But yeah, man, that is the best send-up cover. even with the font on comics.
I love the battle cry. Call to ass.
That's all on page 401, by the way.
Well done. Get to manga now. Come on.
Yes, it's manga.
That nearly finished me.
Definitely manga time. All right, here we go. Okay, scrolling it down. And what do we got? Well, once we do get there, I'm sure we'll get a Mob Psycho.
You always have an interesting pick, honey.
All righty. Yep, there's that Mob Psycho Ed. I feel better. Okay. Starting off with on page 439, anybody who's a fan of Street Fighter, Udon gives us Street Fighter Origins Sagat, one of the first characters in the Street Fighter series, as Sagat appeared along with Ryu in the very first Street Fighter game, not Street Fighter 2, but Street Fighter. And is a fighter obsessed with victory, one of the four heavenly kings of Shadowloo, and the god of Muay Thai. But before others learned to fear his name, he struggled to find his place in the world. This graphic novel delves into his dark past, makes it explored in a tale of kings and dictators, of monks and assassins, of men and gods. Street Fighter Origins Sagat on page 439. And we're actually pretty close to getting Street Fighter 6 coming out on PlayStation and Xbox soon. Bring it down to some of the further stuff.
Any series you're currently reading?
Nothing at the moment because I'm kind of like in between, but I do like to find the most Japanese possible title to point out. So I'm looking through that at the moment. Yen light novels. Light novels are actual novels, by the way. They're not manga, but they're novels. My instant death ability is so overpowered. No one in this other world stands a chance against me. Volume 1. Yeah, that's pretty good. Page 454 for that one. And I'm going to point out at least one more. Yes. This one's great, actually. 457. The History of Modern Manga. Hardcover.
Ooh.
History of manga is inextricably linked to the social, economic, political, and cultural evolution
Sure
of
is.
Japan, essential to the daily lives of its inhabitants and to its economy. Manga is one of the drivers of the international development of one of the world's largest economies.
1 billion copies annually.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Discover over the pages and years the major events and artists who have marked the history of modern manga in this new updated and expanded edition available in April 2023.
See, if that were an American rally, I'd still have a comic book store right now.
Yes, most definitely.
My God.
Yep. So that is awesome. Inside Editions is putting that out on page 457.
I can attest from my travels in Japan that it's everywhere.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's everybody's reading it. You see it on trains, buses, everywhere.
Not to mention also doujinshi, which is fan-made comics, and that has its own audience and sells way more than you would expect it to. As half of which is not even official, but it makes it happen.
Now, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ian.
No, I was going to say why I adopted my husband is also something that I wanted to point out. True autobiographical account of life as a gay couple in Japan. $12.99 on sale June 2023 on page 465. It's honestly well worth checking out, and the full solicit is on 466 for it. As that's unfortunately what gay couples used to have to do at times. In order to get proper health care and get rights for each other, happen a lot over the world.
One had to become the legal parent or guardian of the other.
Basically, yeah. In order for both to be able to be properly protected in the world. Yuta Yagi tells that story, and I'm interested to see how that turns out. So yeah, 466. Why I adopted my husband. That's it for me, gents.
Well, I if you don't mind, on page 35 in the tchotchke section.
The tchotchke section. Thank you for putting the tchotchke section.
Yes, I mean, normally we don't spend much time here for good reason, but this page is called to me.
Here we go. Let's see if I can guess it before I go to it. And yep.
Well, there's two things. There's two things that called me. First of all, both items are for my respective desks. My office desk here and then my desk at school. So at school, I have an armada of bobbleheads that I've gathered over the years from when I had a store that are part of sort of my mystique as a teacher.
Yep.
And I haven't added one in a while, but they have an exorcist body knocker, complete with Regan with the slime and vomit around her face.
Oh, wow.
Right around when she's the head spinning around. So I have to purchase that for my school desk, further educate the young people on essential films. And then, of course, for my desk here on the bottom, at last, the Spider-Mobile.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
A die-cast version. I will be ordering this. Such a self-indulgent silliness, but without question.
Outstanding.
Revel in it, Chris.
Yes.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Self-indulgent silliness is the name of our game.
Yes. Right on top of that, sir. Spider-Man Nano figure, Spider-Man City Deluxe Scene.
And they got a whole set of figures above that, too.
Yeah. Wow. That is something else. And the subway actually looks kind of like the subway. Not bad. Not bad.
So how small are these figures?
That's a good question.
Each posed nano is approximately 15/8 inches tall.
Yeah, 10 inches tall. Right. I see. This Nano Scene is complete with 6 nano metal figs, including 2 exclusive decos, Spider-Man UK figure, and Lasher figure, with numerous ways to display your nano metal.
Well, the scene is 10 inches tall.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct. Wow.
That was well, you know what? I'm sorry. I have to go back to that page one more time because there's actually a third item. I'm not going to order it, but again, Shane would appreciate this. The 5 points XL Godzilla vs. Mecha Godzilla 3-figure box set.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. Where is he? Where's Gotti?
Come forth, Gotti.
He's still here. He survived multiple floods from my childhood.
Amazing. With stick out tongue action and all.
And shooting fist. All right. I'm done.
Any tchotchkes on your end, Murd?
I've got 2.
Ah, terrific.
Let's check in on page 29.
29. All right, scrolling back up. Go.
Just for
09. Boom.
For random mashup weirdness factor. Top of the page there. There are some pop figures shaped like the Looney Tunes characters dressed as the Scooby Gang.
That is fun.
I don't know who asked for this, but if it was you out there listening, you can find it on page 29.
I love the Velma Tweety.
I was just thinking, yeah, that's easily my favorite. And then the mystery machine underneath with bugs is something else.
You got to respect also the Aquaman Silver Age cover pop figure.
Yes.
On the right there.
Yes.
Nope.
Nice presentation.
Yeah.
And Hamilton pop figures, right at the top of that page. This is a good page for pop vinyls. Like, I'm done buying pop vinyls because I have nowhere to display them and they just take up space. But the Pokemon ones that Munchlax is adorable. And the Ant-Man and Wasp Quantumania ones are actually pretty nice too.
What's rather
that's on page 33. Where we've got some action figures based on some independent comic book.
Oh, I know. I noticed this. I'm glad you brought this up. Yeah.
Yep, up to the top of the page there, we've got 3 different versions of 2 versions of the Tick and 1 version of Barry, also called Tick, from the comic book series The Tick.
Wow, look at this. Got the Goon, Grendel,
Michael
Madman.
T. Gilbert's Mr. Monster, and Allred's Madman, and Cassie Hack from Tim Seeley's Hack Slash.
Excellent. Wow. Okay.
You want a Hunter Rose for your shelf, Chris?
Maybe we'll see. I mean, I'm already getting this the Spider-Mobile, so I think I've shot my bolt there.
I kind of want the Tick in disguise because not only is it just quite literally the Tick wearing a tie, but it's a different color blue than the regular Tick. And I find
he's clearly anxious about his undercover role based on his expression.
Right.
Good pick, Murd. Great pick.
And also, Dick Tracy's been on the mind since that very, very weird.
I haven't watched that yet.
Warren Beatty poop show on AMC a little while, or the TCM a little while ago.
You see, I'm Dick Tracy. I'm not Warren Beatty. I'm Dick Tracy, and I'm doing this as Dick Tracy. Let's talk about Dick Tracy on Zoom. Like, really?
I'm a real person, and I own the rights to myself.
Oh my God!
I think we've shot our bolt, gentlemen.
You better believe it. And Chris, well, congratulations on sticking with us, sir. Much appreciated.
I'm exhausted, but I felt I had a debt of honor.
I very much appreciate it.
Yes, we both do, Chris. Thank you for trudging this last long, weary mile with us.
Yep. And thank you once again, the listeners over at patreon.com/comicgeekspeak for your continued support of the show. We really, really do appreciate it. And once more, even if the glass is empty now, once more to you, Darren. You're here. Absolutely. And Murd, one more reminder on the due date for Best Of.
It is Sunday, March 5th by 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. Get those nomination ballots emailed in to bestof@comicgeekspeak.com by that time.
Terrific. All right. And let's have Murd play the role of Shane tonight, if he doesn't mind.
I don't mind, but my laptop seems to. It's loading our contact information page very slowly.
Okay. All right.
Just a second here. Okay, we've got the proper website at least, but I need to click on a link that I have to go to the bottom of the page to get, and it's...
Well, you know what? If you can't get to it fast enough, I kind of have it mostly memorized by heart anyway, so I can always step in if needed.
I'm sorry, and it's not cooperating. Oh, wait a minute. There's the thing that... Oh, I got it.
All right.
I can be Shane after all.
Excellent. Fantastic.
Who would want to be Shane?
In that case, be Shane. Be Shane. Be Shane.
If you'd like to send us an email, the address is comicgeekspeak@gmail.com. If you'd like to send us a voicemail, you can call 267-702-6642. You can like us on Facebook and also join our Comic Geek Speak supergroup there, where you can engage in discussions and leave feedback pertaining to all our episodes of the podcast, and also just start discussion threads on any topic you like to be discussed with your fellow CGS listeners and friends. You can also go to thecomicforums.vanillacommunity.com, which is our original forum where you can do much of the same thing. You can go to youtube.com/comicgeekspeak to see the video versions of all of our recent episodes, including this one. It's a big help when you're going through that previews catalog with us to see the images that we are seeing. We give special... you got to send in those Muddle the Murds, too, to comicgeekspeak@gmail.com, our email address. And email in those nominations for the Best of Awards to bestof@comicgeekspeak.com. We give special thanks, as always, to those of you who have monetarily supported the show recently or in the distant past. We truly appreciate it, and the show would not be what it is today without your help. And as always, we are uniting the world's mightiest heroes, one listener at a time.
Long live the Legion.